Dixon got a crash blocking the right lane, 40 westbound. They're at exit 163. In Woodbine, an injury crash, 24 eastbound at I-440. Then in Antioch, 24 westbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, kids. Welcome in. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day. Happy to have you with us on this Monday edition, September 22, 2025. It's the first day of fall. It's episode 889. It's Donald Trump's 249th day in his second term in office, unless I've got the math wrong somewhere along the line. I'll try to fact check that for us. And we've got a big show for you today. You can find us on a lot of different platforms. We appreciate you spending a bit of time with us. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're certainly appreciative of it. We normally get about 4 hours a day or thereabouts. You can find us on iHeart. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on TuneIn. All of those apps up and available and running for you. You can also find us on our own. That's Supertalk 99.7 WTN. That app is always running for you when we're on the radio. At least we hope that it's always running when we're on the radio. And then there's the good old radio, as I mentioned, 99.7 FM, and, of course, Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. So that's just a plethora, a veritable cornucopia of options available for you to carry us wherever you go, to watch or listen wherever you go, and we appreciate all of you doing said same. Thank you so much for it. We invite you on the Matt Murphy Show to participate. I love taking telephone calls. Disagreement, as a matter of fact, goes to the front of the line. If you disagree with me, you go right to the front. 615-737-9986. We take callers all day, every day, and it's because I love the engagement. I feel like we're one big water cooler. We're a public town square, electronically speaking, and I love getting the sense of where people are on the variety of issues of the day that we bring up on a day-to-day basis from 3 until 7 o'clock. That's what we do. Now, let me tell you why you're really here. Ken Weaver's back in the newsroom. He gathers headlines for a living, delivers them twice an hour or when it breaks. Ken Weaver, how's your Monday going?
How about you boys?
You doing all right?
I'm doing fine.
You get your snack?
I got my snack.
Okay, just checking. It's snack seems a little light today.
It's a little light today, but I understand.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty funny with the O. The little cracker stands for the O in Oklahoma. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
It says hiding in the corner, around a cracker, and then behind it, KLAHOMA. Dirty. Low down.
He thought y'all were low down and dirty, Ken. I think the refs are more low down and dirty than anything. But
let me tell you something. Those refs were terrible.
Those refs were terrible, but not as bad as the Auburn offensive line. I mean, no offense.
Well, they had a rough day.
Good gracious alive. So, more sports later on the Super Talk station as we get started here. But there's Ken Weaver back in the newsroom. There's Jackson Williams. Hey, Jackson.
Hey, buddy.
How you doing?
I'm all right.
You all right?
Yeah. You all right?
I'm fabulous.
How's that shoulder of yours?
It feels good. I did some workouts this morning. Got PT tomorrow. 9:45. You want to come?
I'm good.
You sure?
I'm so sure.
There's snacks at PT.
Ooh, what kind of snacks?
Yeah, not really. I made that up.
You had me.
Mm-hmm. I made that up.
You've lost me. Well, Abigail coming in Friday?
Dr. Abby, the abuser, along with Maddie, will be coming in on Friday to talk to us about physical therapy and keeping your body healthy and keeping your body up. And I think it's educational for everyone. It's not just an excuse for me to talk about how much she's abused my shoulder low these many months.
Is she going to bring snacks?
Maybe. I'll ask.
Will it be more than a cracker?
I'll ask her one little bitty Ritz cracker. That's all Ken Weaver got today. Normally he gets, and he said that if she had been thinking about it, she would have made brownies or something for everybody else so that I could pass the deliciousness out for everybody else. And, Ken, you've got a special bag. Here's yours.
That would have been good.
Low down dirty.
Dirty.
I watched Superman last night.
Did you?
The new
Yeah,
one.
the 2025 one, the one you saw in theaters.
Yeah, positive review there, Jackson?
I enjoyed it. A little too much crypto.
So
Wait, too much dog?
Too much dog.
What?
did he beat people up?
The dog beat the ever-loving crap out of Lex Luthor at the end.
Here's the well, because Lex had been mean to him, and so they wanted to get a little comeuppance. But here's it's funny, Ken. The biggest critic. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it yet. I hear it's good.
It's good. The biggest criticism.
It's on Max now, Ken.
Yeah,
okay.
so you can get it on your home theater there.
Yes, sir.
At the house. The biggest criticism has been that. For the most part, through the entire movie, Superman just gets the hell beat out of him.
It
entire
is
time.
a common theme. It's like,
Really?
who's going to save him now?
Right? I mean, he does get beat up a lot. I mean, the thing starts with him getting beat up.
Well,
Yeah, he's-
good grief.
The opening scene is him laying face down in the snow,
Bleeding.
profusely.
You can't make Superman bleed.
Well,
They did.
apparently they do now.
What color's his blood?
It's red. It's red. Red-blooded American, Ken. Well, red-blooded illegal alien, I guess, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, has they ever written the comic book Superman gets his papers checked?
Superman, well, I mean, Trump might be his biggest enemy. I mean, need to see some paperwork there, buddy, before you keep flying around
Superman gets whipped by Tom Homan.
doing good.
Tom Homan just whips his ass.
Tom Homan. Oh, Tom Homan's under fire. The liberals think they got him. You know why Tom Homan's such a target right now is because Tom Homan has been so effective. That's it, right? Tom Homan is now, quote unquote, under fire as it has been discovered that the Department of Justice was looking into whether or not Tom Homan took a $50,000 bribe, et cetera. They didn't do anything with it during the Biden administration. And, of course, when the Trump administration took over, they looked at this. Matter of fact, Kash Patel apparently looked at this, and they saw no reason to move forward with that either. So that's that in a nutshell. Obviously, we're going to start with the big story of the weekend. There's a lot of things going on, and I hope you got a chance to spend time with family and friends. And I most certainly hope that you had an opportunity to sit down with your family or by yourself and watch a little of the Charlie Kirk Memorial out of Arizona. It was a long service. It was incredible from start to finish. I did not watch all of the beginnings of it. I admit that. I had some other things going on at the house. But I did watch. I watched all of it from, I guess, Stephen Miller on. I watched all of J.D. Vance. I watched all of Tucker Carlson. I watched, obviously, all of Erica Kirk. And then, of course, all of Donald Trump. And I know that some people are accusing Donald Trump of turning this into a little much of a pep rally. And I get it. I mean, I understand that. It was different. There's no question. Donald Trump is going to be Donald Trump. And it was sort of a rallying point. Donald Trump turned it more into a celebration of life as opposed to a eulogy. And I think those are subtle differences. But, I did not mind it. I understand why some might shy away from that sort of thing, especially when you're memorializing someone who just lost their life. But let me tell you something, boy howdy. Erica Kirk. Well, let's just start there. Erica Kirk, yesterday at the rally, I don't mind telling you that I cried in abundance when she did this.
That young man on the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do." That man, that young man, I forgive him.
Erica Kirk speaking, obviously, at her husband's memorial service and speaking directly to and about the individual responsible for the assassination of Charlie Kirk, saying that I forgive him. She is an angel of our better nature, an angel of Christian nature. And I wish that I could say that I was as forgiving. And Donald Trump said as much for his part later on in the service, saying that, you know, he could learn how to be, I'm paraphrasing him, of course, I've got the clip, but he could learn how to be more like Erica in the sense of forgiveness, that he hates his enemies. And, you know, that's pure Trump being Trump. It's not untrue. He is an incredibly competitive man, and he looks at that competition as a win-lose sum, and he wants to win. And in order for there to be a winner, there has to be losers. And he believes that those on the other side of most political issues need to be the losers. And for that, he, quote-unquote, hates them. His word, not mine. I don't disagree that that's who Trump is. I also don't disagree that from a godly sense, we should all strive to be more like Erica Kirk. It is just incredibly, incredibly difficult to be there when you understand how much the people that fight against the values that made this country so great hate us. And how ungodly some of them are. We're going to speak to a gentleman about that moments from now. He's here, by the way. I'm sorry to do this online. I can't text and all that at the same time. I mean, he's already trying to get in the front. So we got Jason Whitlock coming up in about 20 minutes or so. Of course, Jason, host of the podcast Fearless. We're going to talk about Christian nationalism and how it became something of a dirty word and why it is making a resurgence in popularity and why we should not cede the language to those that want to steal it from us, those on the political left. We will do so coming up at about 3:35 this afternoon. At 5:05, fresh from a trip to Israel, Representative Scott Cepicky will join us in studio to discuss that trip, what he has learned about the ongoing conflict over there, and what America should and can do to support our allies in the Middle East. That is at 5:05. And at 6:05 today, a special visit with Chris Hand. Chris, our own Chris Hand, from 9 until noon, of course, on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And I think he got in right toward the end of his show. Brian Wilson, good to hear Brian back on the airwaves, filling in for Chris as he got back into town. He was delayed a little bit getting back in, and so Brian capably taking up the microphone and the reins and carrying the Chris Hand Show for the first couple of hours. Hand on in the last hour, we'll talk to Chris about his experience in Phoenix and the most incredible memorial service that I can remember being held out there yesterday in honor of Charlie Kirk. So lots to get to. Your telephone calls, obviously, at 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. Super text ongoing as well. In the meantime, the breaking news that just happened. Hey, can I get a trumpet? I think this breaking news deserves an official breaking news Matt Murphy trumpet. Jimmy Kimmel's coming back tomorrow. So Jimmy Kimmel, I don't know if y'all noticed this, and I admit I didn't verbalize it, but we did say, look, he's been suspended. He's been suspended indefinitely, and ABC's not saying that they let him go. I was of the opinion that maybe they were just trying to work out particular details of his dismissal, but Disney is now saying that Jimmy Kimmel will be back tomorrow night. They never said that they were firing him. And, oh, by the way, Donald Trump has to be the worst fascist in the history of fascism, right, liberals? I mean, I thought Donald Trump did this, according to the political left, according to those that were in the know. The potato over there at CNN, that's Brian Stelter, the potato. I call him the potato because he looks, like a potato with a little bit of hair. Anyway, the potato and CBS and NBC, and I don't know that ABC declared this because ABC probably knew better, but every other media network out there, MSNBC and the like, they were telling us that Donald Trump did this, the FCC did this, Brendan Carr did this, this is just awful, this is dictatorial, this is fascism at its worst, this is a squashing of free speech. And from the beginning I said Donald Trump didn't have anything to do with this, ABC did this. Now, you can debate one way or the other whether you think Donald Trump would want to do this. But Donald Trump, even if he wanted to, didn't have the time to do this. That said, my goodness gracious, how silly do you look now? Donald Trump, worst fascist ever, as Jimmy Kimmel is returning. And if Donald Trump had the inclination or the ability to cancel him, wouldn't he do so? Wouldn't he have done so? I don't think Donald Trump has the inclination, nor do I think Donald Trump has the ability. Now, ABC has to abide by their FCC license, but I'm on the record as saying that the FCC should be abolished as well because there's really no more need for the FCC. Let's just be honest. It's 321 Super Talk 99.7 WT, and hey, Whitlock's already here, so we're going to go ahead and bring him in and have him join in on the conversation for the better part of the hour. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Savory Spice. I hope you got over there over the weekend. Man, they got great spices. I mentioned this salted caramel sprinkle that they have going on. Oh, my goodness gracious. It is so good on anything sweet that needs a little dab of extra. That salted caramel is so good, and it's at Savory Spice. They have they've got the maple syrup flavor that you can sprinkle on just about anything you can imagine. They've got all of the fall flavorings that you know and love, and they want you to come by and see them at Savory Spice, to include pumpkin spice, which is not to be confused with pumpkin because it's not pumpkin. It's the spices that go in pumpkin that makes pumpkin taste so ever so good. Savory Spice has got anything for any flavor and any palate. They've got the exotic spices. They've got something to refill the cupboards. They've got something for you at Savory Spice, and they invite you to stop by and see them. Just off the square in Franklin, beautiful shop. The aromas are incredible. You can sample everything before you buy, and they've got great gift-giving ideas, too. It's Savory Spice, locally owned. Absolutely love that. Go see the owners, Holly, David, and the rest of the crew, and tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the place where they make food better at Savory Spice.
Jimmy Kimmel Live will be back on the air tomorrow night, and the Trump administration's expected to announce there are links between taking Tylenol during pregnancy and autism. These stories and more at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
There's Ken Weaver, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I always love when I get comments on the text line, and I read all of your texts. I try to read them all. I can't read them all. I admit that, but I try to read as many of them as I possibly can. And I love the ambiguous texts that come in from time to time. 9058 writes, "Come on, Matt, you're better than that." And I got to tell you, about most things, no, I'm not better than that. So I don't know what you're specifically referring to. Odds are I'm not better than that. But whatever you're talking about, if you tell me better than what, maybe I can be more specific with you. I'll tell you who's better than most of us at this and most every other thing that he does, and it's Jason Whitlock. He is host of Fearless. It's a great podcast. I encourage you to go check it out if you're not already checking it out. He is also a Nashville man through and through. He's been here about as long as I have, maybe a little bit longer, and he joins us in studio to talk about everything that's going on. Jason, so good to have you back, brother.
Matt, it's good to be here. I was with Chris Hand, I believe, on Friday, and we were talking about, hey, man, you need to get you back on air. I was like, yeah, no problem. And sure enough, you text me, and
I got it. I got in there. I got right in there.
Snuck in there right before Chris.
I will tell him he's going to be on at 6 to talk about his show tomorrow. Because he was out at the memorial, and he was late getting back, and I told him I needed to get him on to get a firsthand account of what it was like, because I know you've seen it. It looked absolutely inspiring and amazing and just gut-wrenching and heavenly, all bundled into one event.
Yeah, that pretty much covers it. Heavenly, inspirational. If you cried, you laughed. If you were there, well, I was at home watching it, and did you see the early music part before?
My wife
amazing.
Was watching, yeah.
Had me out of my seat dancing, and man, that was awesome. That's one of the greatest 8 hours of sitting on the couch I think I've ever spent. Went back from my couch to the study, back and forth, but it's everything that I believe in. And so that's what made me tweet out or post on X. I was like, hey, you all, I want you to know what you're witnessing. This is Christian nationalism. And if you're ashamed of it, that's your problem, not mine. And
what was the reaction?
Most people got it. Yeah. I'm just telling most people, Keith Olbermann didn't get it. He came after me on Twitter, on X or whatever. But most people got it, because I think that I've never this isn't a new perspective for me. When they first started talking about Christian nationalism, I was like, what's the problem? What do you mean? More Christianity in America? Well, tell me the bad in that.
Right.
And I was like, you guys keep letting the left tell you what's bad rather than the Bible, rather than your minister even. You let the left, whatever CNN says is bad, now you go to argue, well, maybe it is bad. And I saw ministers distancing themselves. So I don't want to be called Christian nationalist. And I was like, why not? What? You don't want this nation filled with as many Christian values and principles as possible? Who wouldn't? That's the cure for what's the matter with us.
Well, they fall prey to the language of the left, right? And they allow it. And, I learned this when I was, I don't know, maybe 21, 22 years old, from Rush Limbaugh, who said, words mean things. I remember Rush said, words mean things. And if you allow the political left to pervert the meaning of the language, they're going to do it, and they're going to do it to your detriment and to their benefit.
If you allow them to define you,
right,
they're going to do that. It's Matt, you're sitting in front of me. I'm black or brown. The left would have you believe I'm racist. And it's like, hey, against black people. And they'll Matt, you're obviously racist. You're white.
Obviously.
And so, they continue, and we play from a defensive position. And I'm like, no, let's go on the offense.
You don't play this way, but I love the idea of a rich, entitled, elitist white person telling Jason Whitlock that he's racist.
Yeah. Well, and look, you got...
And having no idea what your life experience has been. beyond the color of your skin.
Black people do it too, though. There's these gatekeepers that anything that comes from the Bible is racist or evil. They've got some sort of, well, you need to be more tolerant. You know, Jesus tolerated everything. And I'm like, no, he didn't.
All right, hold your thought real quick. We got Ken Weaver in the newsroom. We've got 30 more minutes of Jason Whitlock with us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. I can tell you, we got some pretty strong storms in the neighborhood. And when I say the neighborhood, there's a severe thunderstorm warning for Hopkinsville, Kentucky right now, well to the northwest of Nashville. But scattered showers and thunderstorms nonetheless. That's the only one severe. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Jimmy Kimmel Live will be back on the air this week. It comes after executives at Disney made the decision to suspend production of the show after Kimmel made comments about the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's murder. We get more from ABC's Melissa Adon.
Had made that decision to suspend production on the show. This, they said, in order to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. The statement also reading, it is a decision, quote, we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. They have said that they've spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy. And after those conversations, that is where the Walt Disney Company says they reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday.
Today, the Trump administration expected to announce there are links between taking Tylenol during pregnancy and autism. We get more from ABC's Elizabeth Schulze, who says there are no studies proving that.
Researchers say that the rates of Tylenol use in pregnancy have actually gone down in recent years, even as autism rates have risen amid increased awareness of the disorder and also widening definition of the spectrum. The CDC does say that 1 out of every 31 8-year-olds had autism in 2022. That's compared with 1 out of every 150 children in the year 2000.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Dixon got a crash blocking the right lane, 40 westbound there at Centerville Dixon exit 163. Woodbine, an injury crash. Police say it's 24 eastbound at I-440. Then in Antioch, police say there's a crash 24 westbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway. I'm Ken Weaver.
Look, I think I'm not the brightest bulb on the tree, right? But I feel like I'm a pretty smart guy. But when I deal with health insurance, it gets confusing, and it gets confusing fast. Part of the problem is the health insurance companies want it to be confusing because when something feels like a math test, you run away from it. Well, that's where Cover Nash comes in. That's where my man Shane Ring comes in because Shane understands these complex issues. He can boil them down for you in a way that you can understand them. He can cut through the clutter and help you understand if you're getting the most for your money. I mean, the bottom line is this. Are you getting the coverage that you need? Are you getting the most for your money? Are you being taken advantage of? These are questions that can be answered from Shane Ring. Shane does not work for insurance companies. He works for you. Now, he has access to all of the insurance companies on the market today. He'll pull them up and show it to you. When you go to his office in Brentwood, because he's local in Middle Tennessee, he'll show you all of the different plans. He'll show you the exact amount of money that it will cost you for each individual plan, and he'll explain to you what the difference is in the plans in a way that, somebody trying to sell you insurance, they're not going to explain that to you because they're trying to sell you a particular insurance program. Shane Ring doesn't do these things. He makes the complex simple, and he does it well. Give him a call. He is your healthcare concierge at 615-465-0023, 465-0023, or online at coverdash.com. That's coverdash.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Our good friend Jason Whitlock in studio with us. He's the host of the Fearless Podcast. He stops by to talk about the events of really the last couple of weeks, and most particularly the events of yesterday and how, I'll tell you this, we use the phrase God works in mysterious ways a lot, and it's obviously true that we don't understand. We don't pretend to understand, those of us of faith. And what I have seen, if you take any sliver of a silver lining, I see and I hear people, Jason, telling me how churches are filled over the last couple of Sundays, how people have regained a spirit of faith. I don't know if that's been your experience, but it has to be heartening.
I was in a conversation this weekend where people were talking about the previous weekend, said it was bigger than Easter across the country.
Yeah.
That more people went to church the weekend after Charlie's death, assassination, than went to church on Easter. And yeah, I think looking at what we just witnessed on Sunday, I think that pattern's going to continue. I think that people understand that if we don't go all the way back to factory settings, you can't fix this. And the factory settings are the Bible. And so anybody that's serious about correcting what is clearly wrong in our culture, whether they like it or not, whether they go to church or not, whether they believe in God or not, I do think they are realizing may not be my thing, but we better get some of this Bible stuff back in here because secularism just doesn't work.
Well, and here's why you're talking. I don't pretend to be the best Christian, and I know that I'm not. And I have struggled with faith in my life. But I've never struggled, and this is where I thought this conversation would be so good, because even when I was struggling with faith, I never struggled with the idea that we were a Christian nation. I never misunderstood. I feel like I never misunderstood what our founding was all about, and how even for those that don't believe, being a nation that has your basic foundation in Christian principles is better for everybody.
it benefits the non-believers as well as the believers. It probably benefits the non-believers more than believers. And I've watched a lot of like high-profile comedians. Bill Maher has been figuring this out for the last 3, 4, 5 years. They're like, oh, under secularism, I have less free speech. There's cancel culture. There's jokes I can't crack. In a Christian environment, because there's so much confidence and security and like, I know who I am. If someone wants to crack a joke that slightly offends me, it's not a big deal because I know exactly who I am in Jesus Christ. And so I can laugh it off. In a very secular, where microaggressions and what the world is, what the man next door to you or your classmate thinks about you is far more important than what God thinks about you or what you think about yourself. That's how you end up losing freedoms. That's how you end up with cancel culture. That's how you end up with, oh, everybody has to go on TV and crack the exact same joke with the exact same punchline. The only joke that was legal the entire time Biden was in office was a Donald Trump joke. Mm-hmm. And it's like, how many Donald Trump jokes am I going to listen to, man? There's so many other people that deserve to be mocked.
Well, have you not seen the guy in the White House right now?
Yeah.
You know, right? He doesn't know his butt from a hole in the ground. There's nothing funny about that.
Yeah.
I mean, Dana Carvey was willing to do it just a little bit. I gave credit to SNL. They gave him a little pass because it was so obvious. But you're right. It is a monolithic way of viewing the world. And they're getting their marching orders from I don't know what power. It's not the ultimate power.
They never crack jokes on Kamala Harris, and she's got to be one of the funniest politicians that's ever held office. I mean, they could have done the whole Veep HBO series just off Kamala Harris. It's just like I said, let's go back to factory settings. That's the only reboot that will work, and particularly for young people and kids. I think they're figuring out that. I think that's why TPUSA is just going to become a bigger and bigger and bigger deal. That was one of the conversations we had on my show today, was that like in the aftermath of this assassination, TPUSA has a chance to be the most powerful media institution in America. It could usurp Fox News. They could build out a media platform. There's so much momentum behind them, and their brand is so strong, and there's so much money pouring into them, and so many people that want to be associated with them. If they wanted to launch a news network, we'd all tune in. And they're going to have a lot of influence. And the way this Erica Kirk has handled herself has given a lot of people confidence in her. And just like that, she's going to stand firm. I think having Tucker Carlson speak yesterday spoke volumes to like, no, we're not backing down. And there's a lot of pressure for us to walk away from Tucker. We're not doing it. That's a positive sign.
Well, and what it said to me on that specific point, and I, I've watched Tucker. I know he's a good friend of yours,
Yeah.
and I understand that he's in a different place with regard to Israel and the Jewish people, and those are two different things. The government and the people are two different things. And I get it, but I feel like we are big enough and bold enough that we can have disagreements and still be on the same page and be walking down the same path, even maybe having some mild disagreements about certain aspects of things.
Well, for those of us that are proudly Christian nationalists, proudly America first, there's got to be room for Tucker.
Yeah, sure.
If there's
100%.
not room for Tucker, there's no room for me. And so I love that TPS USA has stood by Tucker. I think that was an important signal. Yes, there's room for disagreement, but the way I'm marching and the way that I think a lot of people are moving is like, man, if it ain't about America, I really don't want to hear about it. We got so many problems over here that need to be corrected. It's kids are not safe. And when I mean by not safe, not even in their own classrooms, it's second, third, and fourth graders. You got some weirdo teacher wanting to talk sex with them and talk about their gender identity and all this other stuff. We got to wipe all of that out. And that's motivated parents showing up at school board meetings and all that. And that's, you need a religious fervor to pull off what needs to be done. And that's why I think yesterday was so important. There's a religious fervor building in America that will be necessary to clean up this mess.
You know, I think over the weekend I thought about my granddad, and we would, before hunting season every year, we would go out to some property and recite the rifles that we were going to hunt with. And he said, there's no way to hit your target if you don't recalibrate your focus. And that was the phrase, recalibrate your focus. And what you're talking about is a recalibration of focus.
Yes.
And making sure that we are focused on the right things. And we've allowed, I would agree wholeheartedly. While we have allowed things to just get completely out of phase in America, we focused on other things. And there's nothing wrong with being involved in certain other aspects of the world affairs. But our country needs our attention right now, more than ever.
Yes.
And I think that brings me back to the concept of Christian nationalism. What do you mean? When people, say, Jason, I don't know what you're talking about when you say Christian nationalist. What do you mean?
What I mean is the imposing of Christian values everywhere. And so, there used to be Bibles in schools. And you used to do the Pledge of Allegiance in school. You used to, the 10 Commandments were in courtrooms. And there wasn't a debate about what a man or a woman was. It was defined in the Bible by God, and we all agreed on that. And so everywhere you turn, look, the National Football League, I'm a sports guy. It used to promote Christian conservative values. They've pivoted away from that. All of sports has pivoted away from that. They've pivoted away. People don't even understand the history of American and even international sports, that the YMCA in the late 1800s, early 1900s, they organized sports globally and here in America. And the YMCA, many people listening may fall over when they hear what it actually stands for, the Young Men's Christian Association.
Right.
That's what the YMCA is. Christians established sports, and sports used to have a unique Christian personality and ethos and values that were promoted through that. It's all been stripped out because of television. Christians are no longer in control of sports, have very little influence over sports. Television has all the influence now, and it's just a money-making operation. And let's climb in bed with the gambling companies and everybody else. And then when you're the next thing you know, they've leveraged you, the Black Lives Matter movement, the LGBTQ movement, that you have the feminist movement. And so diversity, equity, and inclusion becomes the standard in the National Football League rather than merit. And that's when you start, we got to have some female referees.
That's what we need.
We got to have female assistant coaches. We got to have female executives. We got to have a female Instagram model hosting every football show.
Wait a minute, Jason. If they didn't have that end racism on the back line of the end zone, we would still have racism. But thankfully,
we would probably have slavery if not for that.
But thankfully, they've solved all of that for us.
Yes, yeah. I mean, when they put that in the end zone, that's when people. I remember. A KKK guy showed up at my house and said, "I saw that in racism deal.
I'm real sorry about that,
tell you, Jason."
Well, and
want to have a drink.
Automatically, when you say, and I can, and your critics would say, when you say impose,
yeah,
they and I don't know that I hear this, but they hear through law. I don't hear that. I feel like society and what I would call the free market needs to stand up. And the people that have been told to be quiet for far too long need to get louder. What do you mean when you say
Well, I mean a little bit by law as well. There's a lot of things that used to be illegal that are now legal now. Sodomy used to be illegal, and we may have to go back to that. Gay marriage used to be illegal. We need to go back to that. That's a slippery slope. And so they have imposed their values on America. Let's not mistake that. They burn down buildings, they loot, they kill, they riot, the whole nine. They've imposed their value. You think Juneteenth was just a negotiated, like, hey, let's have this national holiday, Juneteenth. No, that's something they used George Floyd and said, demanded and dictated. And so now we all have to pretend like Juneteenth isn't some little distinction of something that happened in Texas. Now it's a national holiday. When they turn George Floyd into this national hero with statues and all this other stuff, and congressmen, lawmakers taking knees and wearing kente cloths. That's all imposed at gunpoint. That's all. Hey, we will burn down buildings and riot and make your city unlivable until you give us what we want. And so they've been imposing their values. Oh, you don't want your kids at drag queen story hours? They've imposed that on you. No parents got together and said, hey, you know what? Take some time out of English and math and have a drag queen come in here and read to my kids. They impose that.
I'm going to impose a rule that we tighten that thing up. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries.
No, you got
it. I'm a pro. This isn't my first radio.
You're making it happen. Now, I would, and I don't want to quibble on small things, but I mean, there's a certain line that I will go to. I refer to myself as a small L libertarian. Libertarians smoke way too much weed for me to consider the Libertarian Party, but I believe in freedom of movement. I believe in freedom of association. I believe in free will and allowing people to live as they choose. But I agree with a lot of what you say with regard to where we as a society have allowed these people to infiltrate aspects of our lives that impact not just ourselves, but our children and our family groups and our communities. I would agree with that.
Yep.
I disagree with the government passing laws telling people that they have to do crap in their own homes that they might see a little bit differently. I think that's a small part of what you're saying, though.
But it is a part of what I'm saying because
I get it. It's okay.
Sodomy is something you probably do in the privacy of your own home. It should be illegal. Gay marriage, should be illegal because it is a slippery slope. There's a reason we didn't get here without taking that first little, what we thought was harmless step. Those first little harmless step, well, that's just something they're going to do in private, and they just want to be married like everybody else. First, you got to throw common sense just completely out the window as it relates to gay marriage. It's like, two men are going to get married, and you think two men are going to live the same way as a man and a woman. Really, two men. Yeah. The wind blows hard enough, and a male's genital will get erect, and he doesn't care where he puts it. And so you got two people like that in a house pretending to be married, and they're screwing any and everybody. And it's a slippery slope, but I'm going to offend a lot of these people. But there's no age restrictions. I'm sorry, but these are just facts. This is how we got here. This is how it ends up with, kid-friendly drag shows. You can't get here without legalizing sodomy, without legalizing gay marriage. And so, we're going to have to put some restraints. And for me, it's use the Bible for this guide so that everybody thinks, and Matt, this is where I've given this just a lot of thought, this whole pursuit of happiness thing that everybody's in. And happiness is just pleasure. It's just, hey, whatever will give me instant gratification and instant pleasure. And that's really not the purpose of life. And everybody thinks that it is. Now, this is something you can't legislate, but it's like a mindset. For those of us that want to correct and revert to factory settings, we have to be in pursuit of holiness. That's what life is about. And life is about the pursuit of holiness so that you can have an eternity with Jesus Christ. This pursuit of happiness, if I just pursue happiness, when this interview is over, I'm going to get in my car, I'm going to hit a McDonald's drive-through window. That'll make me happy. It's not what I should do, though, Matt. I should go home, get on my Stairmaster, maybe have an apple afterwards, watch a little Monday Night Football, and fall off to sleep. But if I was just in pursuit of happiness, I probably wouldn't go to McDonald's. I'd probably go to Hall's since I'm down here. Have me a nice steak.
Hold your thought. I'm gonna see if Jason can stay with us for one more segment. He's on a roll, and I appreciate it. It's 55 after the hour. Got to do this real quick. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Gentlemen, let's talk for a moment because I understand that certain aspects of your healthy life can be frustrating, especially if you get to a certain age. First in Midtown, then in Cool Springs, and now in Clarksville, Tennessee Men's Clinic can assist you in any and all of your urological needs. I don't get too much into your business, man, but I know this. To have a happy relationship, you want to keep the intimacy in your relationship as long as you possibly can. And Tennessee Men's Clinic assists you in that regard. They use proven treatments, and they have one-on-one consultation that can help figure out exactly what's going on with you, tailor a plan specific to your needs. You don't want to trust internet websites on this. You don't want to trust some online site. You want to trust someone right here in the community that can offer you consultation and then sage wisdom advice and ultimately treatment for whatever you're going through. Your initial appointment is $99. It includes a full medical consultation, blood work, and if advised, a first dose right there in the office. Fellas, let's go with 615-208-9090. Get back in the game, men. 208-9090 or online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, Channel 4 has reaction to a bizarre crime downtown over the weekend. A victim kicked, punched, put in a headlock. The attackers stole his shoes. One of the attackers was in a costume.
Everybody's in listening to music, so some guy in a gorilla suit attacking people is kind of out there, pretty far out there, in fact. But especially at 4:30 in the morning, boy, just a little drunk probably, huh?
Yeah, police identified the man in the gorilla suit as 18-year-old Xavier Rhodes. He and a 22-year-old man were jailed, then bonded out. Both of them are charged with felony robbery. Both released on bond. Late-night comedian Jimmy Kimmel returning to the air. Here's ABC's Mike Dubusky.
Jimmy Kimmel Live is expected to air a new episode Tuesday night, days after Disney suspended production on the show after Kimmel's comments following the killing of conservative influencer Charlie Kirk. Disney, the parent company of ABC News, said the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. After days of what they call thoughtful conversations with Kimmel, they reached the decision to return the show.
And in the wake of the shooting of Charlie Kirk, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says President Trump plans to sign an executive order that will designate Antifa as a terrorist organization.
The president intends to sign that executive order very soon as it's drafted, as soon as today, later this afternoon. And this is something the president campaigned on because we have seen a rise in violence perpetuated by Antifa radical people across this country who subscribe to this group.
NASA getting some new astronauts. Here's ABC's Mike Dubusky again.
At a ceremony at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas.
It's an exciting time to be here, and I couldn't be more thrilled and honored.
Anna Menon was one of 6 women and 4 men picked to begin a 2-year astronaut training program. Erin Overcash described getting the call.
And the first words that I said on the phone were, "No way." I mean, yes, of course.
After training, the new astronauts will crew missions to the International Space Station, the Moon, and one day, possibly, Mars. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Glencliff got a crash reported by police 24 eastbound at Briley Parkway. In Dixon, still have the right lane blocked by a crash. 40 westbound near exit 163. That's to go to Centerville, Dixon. And back here in Nashville, crash reported 40 westbound before Fessler's Lane. Also in Lebanon, police reporting a crash. 40 eastbound at Lebanon Murfreesboro Road. And in Creve Hall, a crash reported 65 southbound just past Harding Place. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, it's the Matt Murphy Show, hour number 2, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Pleased you've decided to join us. It is 8 minutes past 4 o'clock. Thank you so much on this Monday. We appreciate you. We've got Representative Scott Cepicky. He just came back from Israel, and we'll have a conversation with Scott coming up just after 5 o'clock about what America's role is in that conflict, if anything, and what the status is from the ground. We'll talk to him once again at 5:05 this afternoon. 6:05, Chris Hand will join us briefly to talk about the event. There's the incredible memorial service that was the Charlie Kirk Memorial in Arizona yesterday. An incredible day of love and forgiveness. And some fight. I mean, Donald Trump presented a little bit of fight toward the end there, and a lot of people are talking about that conversation. Speaking of Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, along with RFK Jr., the Secretary of Health and Human Services, were at the podium earlier today, and we'll tell you exactly what they discussed regarding issues concerning autism and Tylenol or acetaminophen. And we will discuss that in just a couple of minutes as well. We continue the conversation with our good friend Jason Whitlock of the Fearless podcast. You can find you at fearless.
YouTube.com/Jason Whitlock.
There we go.
Fearless. If you're on Apple, it's Fearless with Jason Whitlock, and that's WHITLOCK.
And there's Jason Whitlock. And we're talking about how we kind of get this country back to a spirit of Christian nationalism. And you and I were talking during the break just a moment ago, and I want to continue the conversation with everyone, that I feel like a combination of factors is I feel like we're watching a sea change in the American youth. And I don't pretend that we don't have to cultivate that and encourage it and push it along down the road, lest frankly, enemies of America wrestle those minds away from us. But I feel like the pendulum is swinging in the right direction. In the aftermath of COVID, with what is going on right now as we speak today with Turning Point USA, a lot of young people feel disillusioned, if not out and out lied to, by the people that were telling them one thing when we find out that it's really very, very different in reality. What do you say?
Yeah, I think COVID gave everybody the permission to question everything because, man, they told us we take this vaccine, it'll stop, and, we're blah, blah, blah. And everybody's, they lied to us about that. And so now I think with young people, they're questioning everything. The lie of feminism. This is going to make you so happy. You'll sit inside a cubicle, you'll make this money, you'll be this career woman, and you and your husband will take these spectacular vacations whenever you're not working. And people are starting to figure out, like, man, that's a lie. That I'm not truly content, satisfied, happy, whatever, working nonstop so I can get a bigger house. And so I think men are not young men. I know older men, but many of the older men, we're off in long-term relationships and people have just made the decision, I just got to put up with this until I get to the finish line. But young people are like, hey, man, this relationship dynamic between men and women is completely out of whack. I can't lead. I'm second-guessed every time I turn around. I'm told that this is a 50-50 partnership, and it just doesn't work that way. Someone has to be the leader. And I think for a lot of young men, they're like, I'm not going to let her lead. She's way too moody, and once a month she gets even moodier. And, she's not a great chess player, just in life or even the game. And it's like, I want to lead. This is what I'm here for. And this is why this Charlie Kirk thing has taken on a life of its own and become bigger than what people even thought. Because I think before September 10th, people thought, oh, yeah, Charlie Kirk's a big deal in TPUSA. But in death, they're like, holy cow. Charlie, his life that he was leading, patriarchal, young man, married, beautiful wife, 2 kids, what he was out there promoting. I think there's a lot of young men that's like, man, I like that. And that's what I want to do. And I want to have a woman like Erica Kirk who's willing to stand on national TV and say, hey, women are helpers. And, we're not slaves. We're not just servants, but we are helpers. And I think that appeals to a lot of men. They want women that are more like their mother, and they really want women that are more like their grandmother, because that makes more sense than this wrestling match we have. And now with social media, all the truth that corporate media, corporate television won't give you, the movies won't even give you the truth, social media does give you that unvarnished truth. And so I'm going to say something politically incorrect, just a warning, buckle up. This whole Black Queen deal. These Black Queen, they're going to lead the world. They saved America. So there's so many videos on social media. It's like, what world are they saving? Their world is actually in total chaos. Their sons wear hairstyles like women. Their sons walk around with their pants hanging off their rear end. Their sons barely have a 2.0 GPA, can't read at level. What are they queen of exactly? And then there's so many videos of these women behaving so poorly. It's like, this is, and I've said it for years, like Black Americans, we're the lab rats for feminism and the matriarchal culture. And anyone with a brain can look and see, I don't want no parts of that. If that's the matriarchy, if that's what women in control and dominant over men, if that's what it is, I want no parts of that. And women, white liberal women can lie and say, oh, we wouldn't be like that. Well, we got plenty of social media evidence that, yes, you are. Any woman running around telling herself, her friends, the world, I don't need a man, is a woman that's insane. And I know I sound like Archie Bunker and I'm a sexist pig, but it's time to revert to factory settings unless you like these results. And so all these women that are running in and out of an abortion clinic like they're going to the bathroom and killing their babies and don't understand that leaves scars on them emotionally and changes their soul and the way they interact with the world. I feel sorry for you that you haven't figured it out, that there's child sacrifice. There are curses and complications and consequences that come along with that. And these feminist women are dealing with these consequences. This whole death culture that, anytime you're out celebrating Charlie Kirk dying, you should be looking in the mirror and asking yourself, what happened?
I said last week, one of the things that this continues to expose, and it's been exposed for me and probably for you for a long time, is those that claim to be so tolerant are the most intolerant. They have been for a long, long time. And they're now very open about it. And they seem unafraid. And more people are recognizing that those that have claimed to be so tolerant find themselves to be intolerant when there's someone that veers off the reservation just an iota. And they expose themselves, and social media has done more to expose them than I think anything else.
Matt, I don't want to open up a can and then leave here, and then you have to deal with the remains of this chaos that I'm starting. But look, man, and you probably haven't talked about it on this show, but you probably wanted to. This black fatigue thing is real, man. Black people got it. It's like this matriarchal, no man leadership culture is a symbol. It's a big waving sign telling everybody, go the other direction. Don't go this direction. This is insanity. And so all of this, it's not a skin color thing. It's a decision that has been made to live in objection to the strategies, the rules, the advice of God. And so Black people, we've walked away from marriage and walked away from the family structure, and we have total chaos in our life. And anybody with a brain can start to see, like, man, this is starting in other cultures as well. As more white liberal women decide they don't want to be married, look how much their kids are going transgender, and they're shooting up schools, and they're introducing all this chaos into the world. Factory settings, guys. You know I sound like an old crazy man.
I love it.
I'm going to ask for security when I go to my car here. But I'm telling you, I'm not wrong.
Well, I mean, I will say this, that you bring up the transgenderism piece, and I think it is a broader discussion than just that. But this is it's a microcosm of what I think is happening in young minds. They're sold a bill of goods that if they just do these certain things that the secular society tells them to do, that they're going to be happy.
Yes.
And they're not. It does not give their soul satisfaction. It does not open their soul to God. And when they discuss, and I truly believe this, Jason, when their brains realize that they have not achieved the happiness that they were promised, it breaks something inside of them, and they resort to lashing out in violence.
Matt, look at the peer pressure that young people are under. And I don't want to turn anybody into a victim, but if you're a young white man and everything your school system is telling you, everything TV is telling you, you're the worst person on the planet, you're the source of every bit of misery that's been experienced in the world, why wouldn't you say, hey, man, I got to get in one of these victim groups? You know what? If I'm gay, now I'm a victim, and I'm not just a white man. If I'm trans, now I'm a victim, I'm not just a white man. If I date outside my race, now I'm not racist, I'm one. And so there's all this peer pressure to do things that aren't really in your best interest. Now, young people should find people they share values with regardless of color and have relationships with them. But you're sitting here talking, I'm being totally transparent. You're sitting here. One of the main reasons I'm unmarried is because if I had gotten married, I was going to marry one of two white women. And I didn't want mixed race kids because I was afraid they would be as nutty as Colin Kaepernick and some of these other mixed race nuts that run around and spend their whole life trying to prove how black they are. And I only wanted kids that would run around and try to prove how Christian they are. But this racial thing that we got going here in America and the way the media has handled it, black people wake up every day trying to prove how black they are. There's no value in that.
Is it worse, do you think, now than it was?
Oh, much worse.
15 years ago?
Yes. And that's why I'm so upset, because my childhood was so incredible. It's not that everything was perfect, but I wasn't running around trying to figure out how black I was. I was running around to figure out, can I be excellent at something? First, it was athletics, and then it was as a journalist. And I was free to pursue that excellence. Now, was there some blowback in terms of the way the black culture is structured, where if you talk too good of English, you're sound white or you're acting white? Yes, there was some of that. But I was mostly free just to pursue excellence. And I was rewarded for that. Now they've built an entire system. If you go look at sports media, if you're not some former black player with a criminal history, good luck getting a job on a lot of these sports TV shows. I mean, good luck. There's a reason why Shannon Sharp and these guys get picked for these jobs, because they're compromised. They have so much corrupt activity in their life that they easily controlled. And this all connects to, it's why I'm telling you, you got to pursue holiness as it relates to your sexual life, because if you don't, white or black, they're going to compromise you with the dirt that they have on you. You have no secrets anymore because of this internet. They can track. They know what every website you've been on. They know who you're emailing. They know who your sugar baby is. And so they can compromise you if you're not living a righteous life. And that's why so many men are silenced as we watch this insanity go on with young people in our society. So many people are afraid to speak up because they got too many sexual secrets.
You know, you really should call your show Fearless. There's a reason that he calls it Fearless, folks. It's Jason Whitlock. What an incredible hour, man. And by the way, I'm just going to pull the curtain all the way back. Jason did that entire hour with his gum on his wrist. Entire hour, had his gum on his wrist, just popped it back in, and that's a true pro. Jason, we love you, man, and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Matt, and everybody. I'm driving a blue Hyundai 1986. Look for me in that.
Yeah, that's
Look
right.
for me in that car.
I thought I was going to give you the dark red GMC truck. I was just going to give you my own. There's Jason Whitlock, 22 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know, at Eurofix, they were thinking about something the other day. My man Aaron Stokes, as a matter of fact. You know, one of the marks of a good parent is they warn their kids about danger, what to trust and what to avoid, how to make smarter choices in life. Well, at Eurofix, they repair European vehicles, and I don't pretend that fixing a car is like parenting, but in a way, Eurofix believes in warning their customers and educating their customers about what's wrong and what's right in the automobile world, right? Sadly, there are a lot of mechanics that take advantage of people because they know that the people don't understand cars, don't understand engines, and with that in mind, they spend a lot of money that they shouldn't spend. Eurofix polices themselves. Not every auto shop will tell you the full story. Some oversell you, some cut corners. They just don't do it at Eurofix. Eurofix makes quality repairs at below dealer pricing and has been since 1999. There's a reason that they've grown from, the shade tree mechanic, the back yard mechanic, to 5 separate locations in and around Nashville, Tennessee. 15-minute no-wrench inspection, 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty, 844-EUROFIX or myEuroFix.com. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you for a moment about advanced hair because, man, oh, man, it is an incredible opportunity for you. If you are losing your hair, if it's started to happen, guys, if your hair starts thinning, your crown's disappearing, maybe hair loss has you feeling like you're losing your identity, I've got great news for you. It's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts growing your own natural hair the very next day. It's guaranteed to grow for life. It's Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. We've seen the pills, the lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. Don't do this, men. They never regrow the hair that you've lost. They can help retain what you've got, but they don't regrow the hair that you've lost. Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facility and their world-class doctors, it's not a matter of maybe it will grow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. It's why Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and I recommend them wholeheartedly. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Call 629-348-HAIR, 629-348-HAIR, or advancedhair.com.
President Trump says the FDA will notify doctors about pregnant women and Tylenol. We'll tell you about it at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
There's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. Jackson Williams, young J-Dub, J-Willie, Action Jackson. He's behind the glass. We had Jason Whitlock for the better part of the hour. Now you, 615-737-9986, jumping on the phone lines here in just a moment. Just load them up. Any thoughts on that conversation? I love it. I absolutely love the conversation. And just to understand something, folks, I appreciate Jason Whitlock's thinking on this. I don't necessarily agree with some of what he's talking about. I just, but I agree with so much of it. And I think it's compelling in terms of where we are in America today, where we need to be as a society today. The portions on which I disagree just comes from my libertarian background. And Jason and I were laughing about it during the break, and he was like, well, I'm no libertarian. I was like, I know, I get it. I mean, I am more of a libertarian when it comes to where government intercedes with some of these thoughts and where society needs to go. I 100% agree that as a society, we need to get back to Christian thought. Because Christian thought is good whether you're a Christian or not. It benefits everyone whether you're a Christian or not. And our country is big enough and strong enough that we allow those that do not share those values, those Christian values, to coexist and to commingle. I would have some disagreement about where government is in play on some of this, but that's fine. I'm not going to let the little things get in the way of the big things. And the big thing is to get back to that sense of Christian nationalism and not allow, because Christian nationalism to me, and Jason laid it out what it is to him. To me, it is a spirit of faith. It is the spirit in which this country was born, and it is the basic concepts of the Christian faith that truly present a good, moral, and wholesome society that we should strive to. And that doesn't mean that you're necessarily Christian in your faith. The entirety of society benefits as a result of some of the basic concepts and values taught within the church. And that's it. That's it. And that does not mean that the government is a Christian government or a government of a particular faith. Obviously, that's not the case, which is why I might disagree on certain laws and practices, but those are singular things that we can debate out in due time. Love having Jason on. Love him giving us an opportunity to pick his brain, and I thought it was a really good segment. I hope you did as well. 615-737-9986 if you'd like to comment on it. 615-737-9986. Your call's coming up in a moment, plus more on the incredible memorial service that happened yesterday and the news that Jimmy Kimmel is back tomorrow night because it was never about Donald Trump canceling anything. It was never about the FCC canceling anything. And frankly, I think we as a society ought to cancel the FCC. That's where I'm at on all of that. 615-737-9986. Your call's coming up next after the news with Ken Weaver.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got some showers and some thunderstorms out there in the neighborhood. Right now, the heaviest is right along 840. If you are approaching Franklin on 840 from either east or westbound, you're going to be in real heavy rain by the time you get to 65. In fact, all the way to 65. And right now, in between Smyrna and Murfreesboro, getting some very heavy rain there. This kind of activity apparently is going to hang around through Wednesday. Full forecast in 5 minutes. Traffic, too. President Trump says the FDA will notify doctors that pregnant women should not take Tylenol due to an increased risk of autism. Speaking at the White House today, President Trump says he's convinced the link exists.
For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever.
The maker of Tylenol releasing a statement ahead of Trump's speech defending the over-the-counter drug as safe for expectant moms. Well, if you want to get a COVID shot but are wondering if insurance will cover it, ABC's Wayne Cabot has some news.
The trade group America's Health Insurance Plan says the vaccine will be covered at no cost to patients through 2026. That group includes every major insurer except United Healthcare. CVS says their pharmacies are stocked with the vaccines, and they are now able to deliver vaccinations in all 50 states and D.C. Prescriptions are required in D.C. and some states, including Florida and Georgia. Walgreens also requires prescriptions in a few states. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Everybody coming to complete stops eastbound 440 from 65 over to 24, and then it continues eastbound 24 from there because of a crash on 24 eastbound right there at Briley Parkway South. Then in Dixon, we still got the right lane blocked by a crash. 40 westbound there at 163. And in South Nashville, a crash reported 24 westbound at Murfreesboro Pike. In Lebanon, police reporting a crash 40 eastbound at exit 238. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Alpha and Omega. Alpha and Omega, owned and operated by my man Michael Eddy and his team of experts. They are so good. They've been doing this job for almost 30 years now. Since 1998, they've been in the business of protecting you and assisting you and truly handling any and all of your IT needs for your company. If you're small, medium-sized, or a large business, Michael and his team can assist. If you don't have an IT person on staff, then what are you doing with your computer services? What are you doing in terms of cybersecurity? If you do, I would advise you that it might be cost beneficial for you to go to Alpha and Omega instead. Or if you're renewing your IT contract and you're a small business, get with Michael and his team. Alpha and Omega can assist you. They have emergency services that are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But man, oh man, they're rarely used because they're so good at what they do. They secure your computer systems from threat of cybersecurity attack or ransomware, which is an ever-present threat for you. Plus, I mean, it's as simple as this. They'll handle all of your IT needs, even if it's a printer issue, whatever it might be, they've got you covered. Go to ANO.net, ANO.net, or 615-784-0096, 784-0096. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Open phones right now. 615-737-9986. Anything on your mind? 615-737-9986. Would love to hear from you. Hearing from a lot of you on the super text line, and we'll get to some of those coming up in just a moment. Some of the breaking news. I was sitting here with Jason Whitlock, and we were deep in conversation about Christian nationalism and what that means for Jason, what it means for our country, what it is defined as, and how we move forward as a nation in the aftermath of the assassination of Charlie Kirk and some of the other issues impacting us. So I'm not up on the Tylenol discussion. We were waiting for it. It happened. We were doing the show, so I've not been able to keep up with it. So I'm going to catch up with that and try to update you on exactly what the president said. I know that Ken Weaver's monitoring it over in the newsroom. And on top of that, in the meantime, another breaking news story involving, well, I mean, for what it's worth, Jimmy Kimmel's coming back tomorrow. I don't know that there was any, I'm not surprised. It did not involve me in terms of my viewership habits because I haven't watched late night television in forever. I do believe that companies have to make decisions about how they're going to associate themselves, especially with higher profile personalities when it comes to this type of language used by Kimmel. There is a responsibility for broadcast television, just as there is a responsibility for broadcast radio. I don't know that we're not in an era where the FCC should not be in the content monitoring business anymore. In fact, I would suggest that the FCC should not be in the content monitoring business anymore. The free market is a far better judge of what is and is not appropriate, so long as that content is not rising to the level of endangering the rights or the lives of other people. Does that make sense to everyone? The government never does it as well as the free market. The government should be there to protect the individual rights of others. The government should not be there to tell me what is and is not appropriate from a content perspective, especially when it's political. So, I mean, not to disappoint some of you, but I never believed that it was the government's job to intervene with what Jimmy Kimmel said. What Jimmy Kimmel said, was it out of bounds from a moral perspective? Of course it was. Was it out of bounds in terms of the truth? Yes. Did it cross the line in terms of the government stepping in? I don't believe so. Never did. And I never believed that's what happened either. ABC knew that it was about to get its company reamed by America. And so it did something temporarily. And I don't know if they always felt like it was temporary or not. But they never said firing. They always said suspension. They always said indefinitely. And who knew what that meant. 2565 says the FCC is supposedly an independent organization. How independent is it really? Well, I mean, it's not independent of the government. It's a government organization. And regardless of whether the government is run by Democrats or Republicans, I don't know that the government should be involved in this type of content moderation anymore. I mean, there was a time where there was print was never covered by the Federal Communications Commission, and it always annoyed me. I mean, there was a time when it used to be a lot worse. This idea of equal time. And then Rush Limbaugh came along, and he proclaimed, I am equal time. And it was always such a great line of Rush's. Right? Because he would declare, people said, well, what about equal time? What about equal time? And Rush would remind folks, no, let's not look in the micro. Let's look in the macro. And in the macro, there's ABC, CBS, NBC, and at the time, CNN. And that was about it. And all of these news publications, these print publications, and all of them were left. Every single one of them were left. Except for Rush and a few others. He's like, what are y'all talking about? That I need to give people equal time. I am equal time. In other words, he was the ballast that equaled and leveled the playing field on his own. Almost on his own. That's why we call him the Godfather. Because he was. Well, now more than ever, we have seen a democratization of values, a democratization of viewpoints. And I don't believe we need the FCC telling us what is and is not appropriate. And look, I understand why the free market would want certain safeguards in place with radio or certain safeguards in place with but television is, I mean, is there any such thing as broadcast TV anymore? I mean, in other words, does the average person see any difference between ABC and ESPN? Yet you can say, I mean, if they wanted to, on ESPN, they could lay down the F-bomb if they wanted to. And there's no entity wagging their finger telling them they can't. But ABC, owned by the same company, governed, one would think, by the same rules, if they did that, they would be fined by the FCC. When the real arbiter of what is and is not permissible ought to be the public, the general public. 1413 says, Murph, I disagree with you on one simple thing. You said Charlie lost his life. No, he stepped into eternal life. Well, I mean, I get that. I mean, I understand that. If you feel like I'm speaking improperly when I say that, I mean, he lost his earthly life, if that makes you feel any better. Scott writes in and says, according to the left and all of their social media posts, Trump had Kimmel fired. No, that's what I was saying, is that Trump's the worst dictator on the planet. He's the worst fascist ever. Because Trump supposedly had Kimmel fired. Well, I guess wait a minute. So if we play this one out, if it was really Trump behind the firing, which is what CNN told us Friday and all weekend long, I guess it was Thursday and Friday. That's all that we heard about from #NeverCNN. What a garbage network full of garbage people. Don't watch them. I'll report back. I'll watch so you don't have to. So all weekend long, that's all we heard. All Friday long, all Thursday long, it's all we heard, that Donald Trump did this, the FCC did this, and Donald Trump used his influence, and Donald Trump's a dictator, and Donald Trump killed free speech. And I've read every single one of these stupid editorials that I could find about how Donald Trump's killing free. Well, does Donald Trump then get the credit for reinstating him? Do we applaud Donald Trump? Thank you, President Trump, for allowing Jimmy Kimmel to go back to work. Is that what we're doing right now? Or are we admitting that it was never about Trump? It was always about ABC trying to save their bacon and recognizing that the free market was about to burn that ass. And honestly, if you look at it, I mean, I guess you could look at it from one of two perspectives. Either A, ABC, it's a masterstroke because they pleased everybody, or they angered everyone. I mean, because the conservatives are like, finally, ABC got something right. Thank you, ABC. Thank you, Disney Company. And now, not so much. Well, 0231, I thought I was, 0231 just writes in and says, should the FCC still be around? Should they enforce any type of regulations? I think I was just clear on that, right? No. The FCC should be here to enforce certain rules of the road in terms of equipment, frequency, power. I mean, there are limitations to bandwidth, like on the radio band or on the shortwave band. There are, there's different bands. There's microwave, there's radio waves, there's short waves, there's AM and FM. These are all audio frequencies. And then there's the television band, which operates in that space too. So on broadcast, over-the-air broadcast, whether it's radio or television, I don't think that there's any room for the FCC in the content regulation business anymore. In terms of what they regulate to make sure that, I mean, I suppose you could argue that that could be handled in civil courts. I don't want to get too far in the weeds on this, but I guess you could argue that, if, let's say, for example, SuperTalk 99.7 WTN, we are the largest allowable FM signal. We have a 100,000-watt radio station that emanates from, I guess our tower's in Hendersonville, technically. So WWTN or WTN 99.7 FM is the largest wattage FM signal that you can find. So the FCC prevents us from cranking that power up. And we could crank it up more. We could go to 150,000 watts, 200,000 watts, but you would blast out other frequencies of a similar type, style, and on the same part of the dial. And so these regulations, these rules are here to prevent that sort of thing and to allow for fair market coverage. Those things, I suppose, should stay in place. But from a content generation standpoint, I think all of that's over. All right, 615-737-9986. I guess I got nobody that wants to comment on white or Christian nationalism because I opened up the phone lines and nobody called. All right, that's cool. We'll move along. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy for the Tennessee Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. It's as simple as this, folks. You want a good night's sleep. You want a restful night's sleep. You get it at the Tennessee Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. And Dr. Brian McLaughlin makes sure of it. 2 locations. One is in Brentwood, the other in Murfreesboro, and they would absolutely love to see you. So if you snore, that is a sign of possible sleep apnea. It's not always a telltale sign, but it's a big indicator that you have sleep apnea. And if your partner is frustrated with your snoring, did you know that you can get yourself through the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center, an FDA-approved device that is custom fitted for your mouth that allows you to sleep better. The airway stays open. You breathe throughout the course of the night, and you sleep better because you're always breathing. That's what it's all about at the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Go to TennesseeSleep.com for more information. TennesseeSleep.com. Know that it's in network with most insurance in the state of Tennessee, and they want to talk with you about helping you sleep better tonight. TennesseeSleep.com.
President Trump says pregnant women should not take Tylenol. We'll get to that story and more at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Coming up just after the top of the hour news with Ken Weaver, we will welcome Scott Cepicky to the program. Scott just got back from a trip, but I don't know if it was a junket. We'll find out. I don't know. I want to use that word properly. If so, I've wanted to use it for a while now. Junket. Do you know what that means there, young Jackson? Junket?
Nope.
No? Well, you'll find out if it's an appropriate use of the word. By the way, speaking of Jackson, do you want to engage? I feel like on these Mondays and Fridays during football season, we should engage at least in a moment or two of an Action Jackson Sports Minute.
You want to do it now?
I mean, if you're willing, I think the audience is ready for what I would refer to as an Action Jackson Sport. And I'll give you that. So, Jackson, when I give you the old point, yeah, that's right. I give you the old point. An Action Jackson. The old point means it's time for an Action Jackson Sports Minute.
All right, man, I got one thing to say.
Cepicky just broke the chair. Yeah, what's your one thing to say?
The Titans are bad.
You talking about like bad in good or bad in
they're bad, Ken. Oh, hey, Ken,
No,
this Titans is bad.
They are utterly terrible.
They're bad. Oh, no, they're not. They're just bad.
Titans lose 41 to 21, 44 to 21. My fault.
Yuck. I stopped watching.
I watched it all.
I went back to the memorial service. That was me.
Titans are bad. They just don't. They can't execute in any sense of the word.
Okay, so let's try to break this down, Ken.
Yes, sir.
Ken, me and you, let's talk to the sports guy. You ready?
Yes, sir.
And you just join in here when you're ready.
All right.
Is the offense bad?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
What about the defense?
Bad.
Special teams?
Good.
Oh, good. Coaching.
No comment.
What do you mean no comment?
Not great.
It's the Action Jackson Sports Minute.
Bad.
What do you think it's like in the locker room, Brother Jackson?
Sad. Somebody needs to call their dad. Others are getting real mad.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
Vols are back.
Wearing plaid? I don't know. How's the Vols doing?
They whooped up on old UAB.
Hey, by the way, thanks a lot, Vols. I can't. Thanks. You give me a gift one week, and then the next week you take it right away because you don't cover.
The Vols giveth and they taketh away.
Man,
the Vols beat UAB 56 to 27.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got that score wrong.
I think you did too. But yeah, look, Cepicky wants you to talk about one thing today.
Oh, Memphis beat Arkansas. Big game. I watched the end of that game.
Oh, what an ugly fumble.
A peanut punch on the goal line and a huge first down from their backup quarterback on a quarterback draw seals it for Memphis to beat Arkansas, their third win over the SEC in 3 tries at home.
4-0 and looking pretty to be the group of 5 right now. Early on.
All my hog friends from Arkansas, they want Pittman gone.
Do they really?
Oh, yeah.
I think by the time Tennessee and Arkansas play in Neyland Stadium later this season, I think Bobby Petrino is going to be the head coach of that football team.
They're going to go down that road again, are they?
I think they are. He is the offensive coordinator over there.
Yeah.
Well, but how many points they score?
Not enough.
Well, I suppose not. By the way, before we get away from the Action Jackson Sports Minute, Chris is demanding that, since we're doing a kind of an around the world, around the state in sports, we've mentioned Tennessee. How's Vandy doing?
Yes.
They beat Georgia State.
Wait, why'd you say it that way? Why'd you say it that way, Jackson, when you said it away?
Because I don't like Vanderbilt.
You know the way you just said it.
I know exactly how I said it.
They beat Georgia State.
They're 4-0.
I mean, what?
4-0.
Vols beat UAB, the worst team in the nation. Couldn't cover.
Georgia State is probably equal to UAB.
So Vandy has lost no games?
Vandy has lost no games.
Huh. And Memphis has lost no games?
Memphis has lost no games.
And Tennessee has lost how many games?
1 game.
Huh.
Only one team has played Georgia.
Who's the best program?
It begs the question: who's the best program in the state?
Vols.
Wait a minute, isn't Memphis undefeated too?
Yeah,
Memphis is.
Yeah.
I believe Tennessee's the only D1 program with a loss right now. No, ETSU played somebody and got their break speed off.
state.
Well, yeah. I mean, but we're not talking about the directional schools. We're talking about Memphis, Vandy, and Tennessee.
You got to look out for that Diego Pavia, man.
He'll be playing for another 3 years if he gets his way.
He's going to be undefeated against a one-loss, angry Alabama program.
Hey, can I chime in here real quick?
Yes, Cepicky.
Who's going to be the highest-ranked team at the end of the year, though? Will it be Memphis, Vanderbilt, or Tennessee?
Well, that's a good question.
I'm taking the Vols.
I'm taking Memphis.
Ooh.
Cepicky's taking Memphis. I'm taking the Georgia Bulldogs. Was that an option?
No.
I was in the state.
Unless we annex.
Well, I mean, I think Tennessee's trying to take, Georgia's trying to take Chattanooga back, so maybe we could do a trade. Chattanooga for Athens. Hey, it's time for the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Jackson Williams will deliver us the newscast. Actually, Ken Weaver will deliver the newscast. Jackson will deliver us to the newscast. I was just waiting for the music. I don't know. Jackson gets very, I don't know what's going on in there.
What's up?
Hey.
You ready to go to break?
Just waiting on this music, man.
It's on.
Thank you. Representative Scott Cepicky will tell us all about his visit to the nation of Israel. That is coming up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the news.
5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Man, we've still got some strong storms in the neighborhood right now, just southeast of Nashville, Smyrna, Murfreesboro, getting hammered right now. So think about that if you are heading out to get on I-24. Good old I-24. Probably better in a storm. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. President Trump says the FDA will notify doctors that pregnant women should not take Tylenol due to an increased risk of autism. Speaking at the White House today, President Trump said pregnant women should be urged only to take Tylenol for medical issues like extreme fever.
It's a small number of cases, I think. But if you can't tough it out, if you can't do it, that's what you're going to have to do. You'll take a Tylenol, but it'll be very sparingly.
Now, the maker of Tylenol released a statement ahead of the speech defending the over-the-counter drug as safe for expectant moms. Jimmy Kimmel Live to return tomorrow after suspension. The Walt Disney Company in a new statement says the move was made, quote, to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. And the U.S. Supreme Court says it will consider whether President Trump can remove officials at independent agencies without cause. Specific case involves former President Trump's firing of Federal Trade Commission member Rebecca Slaughter. And TikTok, is it going away? Well, here's White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt during today's briefing.
Under the terms of this deal, TikTok will be owned by a majority of American investors and controlled by a board of directors with extensive national security and cybersecurity credentials. In partnership with the U.S. government, Oracle will serve as TikTok's trusted security provider, and they will independently monitor the safety and data security of all U.S. user data on TikTok's platform.
No word on which investors will take over the company, but Leavitt says the president will be signing it, quote, later this week. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Again, right now, got very heavy rain over I-24 from Antioch down to Rutherford County. Smyrna specifically getting some of that very heavy rain right now. In addition to the rain, looks like we do have some crashes. Glencliff, police reporting 124 eastbound at Briley Parkway. Then in Madison, police say there's a crash. Briley Parkway eastbound just past 65 north. Still dealing with one in Dixon, right lane block 40 westbound near exit 163. And in South Nashville, got a crash reported by police 24 westbound at Murfreesboro Pike. In Hillwood, 40 westbound at Charlotte Pike. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Happy Monday to you. It is the 22nd day of September. It is the first day of fall. And we appreciate you joining us on the Matt Murphy Show. It's day 889 of our gatherings together. You can find us on a lot of different platforms. Of course, we're on anywhere that you listen to music or news or information, on your podcast apps. We're there. I mean, iHeart, Spotify, TuneIn. We have our own. We invite you to download it. Take that app, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You can listen to Dan Mandis in Nashville's Morning News. You can listen to Chris Hand. You can listen to Chad Benson. You can listen to Matt Murphy. You can listen to anything that we provide on Super Talk on that app. You can also find us on Talk TV at YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. Thank you for being there. Give us the old like, subscribe, thumbs up, wherever you might be listening. We appreciate our next guest. He's a good friend of the show. We call him a FOTS, F-O-T-S, friend of the show. His name is representative. Well, his name's not representative. His title is representative. His name's Scott Cepicky, and he joins us not just to talk about football, but to talk about other activities involving politics and our greatest friend in the Middle East, and that would be the nation of Israel. Scott, good to have you back.
Great to be here.
Do you want to finish up the conversation about football before we move on to Israel? I mean, I didn't realize your son was on the sidelines now with Memphis.
That is correct. He plays for the Tigers down there. He's a redshirt freshman, so it's his second year down there. Transfer portal's very difficult. They had over 70 new football players they brought into the Tigers again, and mostly juniors and seniors. So it's tough for a young guy to get to play.
That had to be a good end to that game to watch if you're a Tigers fan.
Jackson, you listening?
Yes, sir.
4-0. 4-0.
The man's bragging. He's doing a little bragging. I mean, I guess when you're 4-0, you get to brag, I suppose.
And we beat an SEC team, and Tennessee lost to one. but go Vols.
I don't know. I mean, the guy doesn't realize that most of his constituents. I mean, he knows that that most of your constituents are Vols fans, right?
They're Vol fans, but we want all Tennessee teams to be successful. We'd like to have 3 teams in the playoffs. And one right now looks like it's got a better chance.
Now we're politicking. Now here we go. We're doing it as a politic. I think all 3 of them look pretty good so far.
I'll tell you what, football is alive and well in Tennessee.
I agree with you wholeheartedly on that.
It makes everybody smile from Johnson City to Memphis.
So with that said, let's turn our attention to politics. Sure. What led you to Israel? Tell me about the trip.
Well, we were invited by the Consul General out of the Southeast in Atlanta. Israel wanted to put together a fact-finding mission. You hear all this stuff from CNN and all the ABCs and stuff about what's going on in Israel, what's going on in Gaza, what's going on in the West Bank. And they wanted to bring legislators from across the country, the United States, 250 of us, 5 from each state, to come to Israel and see it with your own eyes. So when somebody says something back home about Israel, you can say, no, I've been there, I've seen it. I've seen Gaza. I've seen the West Bank. I've seen the determination. I've seen the kibbutzim that were attacked on October 7th. I've seen the Nova Music Festival where young adults were massacred by these beasts. We've seen the resolve of the Israeli people of, we want our people back. Now, these were not, on October 7th, Matt, these were not soldiers. These were not military installations that were targeted. They were civilians, men, women, children, the elderly, brutally massacred, brutally raped and heads cut off, and then hostages, civilians taken back to Gaza to be held. And they're still...
And some still there.
Over 40. They believe that roughly 20-something are still alive based off of what Hamas keeps sending out about these prisoners. They look, for lack of a better word, they look like prisoners from Auschwitz.
Mm-hmm.
They are starving to death. Unfortunately, the prisoners from the soldiers from Hamas don't seem to be starving to death. And so you hear from all the different news stations and stuff that the people of Gaza are starving to death. Matt, I can tell you, I saw a food convoy that was going into Gaza, driven by the Israeli IDF forces, that once they crossed into Gaza, the UN got in the trucks to take the trucks on into Gaza after they've gone through all the inspections to make sure there's no military goods in there, et cetera.
Sure.
And shortly after that, Hamas stops the trucks. So people get out, Hamas soldiers get in, and the trucks disappear, full of humanitarian aid. Now, here's something else to think about.
So you feel like that Hamas is holding them back from the people of Gaza?
Yes, they are feeding their troops, and then whatever's left over is being sold on the black market to their civilians.
Mm-hmm.
We also see that during this war, now we all agree on October 7th that Hamas came across the border into Israel, killed over 1,200 Israelis, plus took hundreds prisoner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since then, Israel has been waging war against Hamas.
Mm-hmm.
They have been supplying electricity to Gaza, water to Gaza, humanitarian aid to Gaza, medical treatment to even the soldiers that they're shooting over there from Hamas in a wartime. Tell me whenever a country that was attacked by another country, that country that was attacked supplied all this aid to the people they're fighting.
Well, the mainstream media wants you to believe and wants to create a distinction, and I suppose there is one, between the Palestinian people and the leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have long said that the Palestinian people in that region, I mean, when we talk about a two-state solution, and I want to get into this conversation with you because the UK just recognized Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought we had recognized this portion of the world in 2006 when Israel said, look, y'all can have, the Gaza Strip is yours. I mean, Israel was willing to engage in a two-state solution as far back as 2006, with the caveat that we have to insist on and we require peace.
Correct.
We require that we protect our own people from attack. And sadly, in that short span of time between 2006, when Hamas took over the Gaza Strip and they were, quote unquote, elected as the political leaders of that region, it did not take long before the warring started back. And it was in small drips and drabs, if you will, until ultimately it culminated in the assault in October of 23. And I just don't understand what Israel is supposed to do more to protect itself. I understand that it's awful. I get it that it's bad, but they didn't start it.
Correct. They've never started it. They in the creation, they went to war with the Arab nations in 1948, and Israel won. They won that war of independence. And throughout time, it has been, I guess, I hate to use this word, Matt, but it's more of appeasement. Okay, we'll give you this if you'll stop attacking us.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give you this if you'll stop attacking us. Gaza could be some of the most expensive real estate in the world on the Mediterranean. It could be beautiful, like Ashkelon, which is just north of Gaza that we went through, beautiful on the Mediterranean, or Tel Aviv or Jaffa, right? But because Hamas has power and a stranglehold on these people, all they're going to do is wage war against Israel. And when we got to speak with Prime Minister Netanyahu or President Herzog, right? They were very clear. We want our hostages back, and we want a Gaza that the people who live in Gaza get to freely choose their representation to put together a government that will recognize Israel and trade with Israel and build with Israel that relationship over time without any type of interference from Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, or Al-Qaeda. Now, we got a problem now in Syria. We got Al-Qaeda now that is infiltrating into Syria because the Assad regime fell, because the Israelis in Lebanon decimated Hezbollah.
Filling that vacuum.
And so now we've got another problem that that Al-Qaeda is now targeting Christians and Druze in Syria. Do you know, besides Mexico, the biggest concentration of Americans abroad are? Israel. 700,000 in Israel.
Several folks are asking, and, you're a good friend of the show, as I mentioned at the top.
Sure.
So, people want to know because there are, I think, some critical questions about our role in all of this.
Sure. And
several are asking who funded the trip.
The Israeli Foreign Ministry.
Okay. So, I mean, and not that there's, I don't know that there's any insinuation behind that question, but I think it's a fair question.
Yeah, there is no money from Tennessee involved
right. So
in this
no
at all.
state money or government money, but
nothing.
So Israel funded the trip. And do you feel like that? I mean, obviously you were pro-Israel way before you took this trip. There's no question about it.
Right.
And we've talked about this many times on the show. And I mean, you wear the pin on your chest every time you're on. And I imagine when you're down at the General Assembly, you're wearing that Israeli pin as well. Makes sense to me. Do you feel like it was fairly presented to you in terms of what's really going on? I mean, you know what I mean?
Was it skewed?
Look, I mean, obviously you're not being led around by Hamas. You're not talking to those people. So obviously you're getting one side of the conversation, but do you feel like you know better or you better understand what's going on?
100%, because we were able to ask in public to President Herzog any question we wanted to ask publicly. And there were some very tough questions asked. What does this look like if you get your prisoners back? What is the goal of Israel here? And over is we want our people back and we want Hamas out of Gaza. We want the people of Gaza to be able to self-rule.
Why do you, and maybe this was asked and maybe it wasn't. I make no bones about the fact that I'm pro-Israel. And I believe that they are the good guys. They are the good actors between Israel and Hamas. But when you see some of the images presented by the mainstream media of Gaza today,
yes,
sometimes I wonder, why is it so necessary to destroy so much when we're looking for so few?
That's a great question. So, and we asked the IDF commanders that, why the decimation?
Yeah, why you have to bomb everything?
Right. And they said, here's the reason, is Hamas has infiltrated through tunnels and through corridors, that they have this interlocking linking between all these different buildings that they funnel between them because they know if they come out in the open, it doesn't end well for them, right? But they also have this policy, it's called, and there's a Hebrew word for it, but it basically the translation is knocking on the roof. So we were there, and there was a building that was targeted, obviously. The day before, the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, announced that they were going to blow that building up to the area. They dropped leaflets and went around in Arabic telling everybody this building is going to be bombed at 12 o'clock tomorrow. And then the Israeli Air Force flies around letting everybody know it's about to happen, and then it happens. Hamas traps people in these buildings for the casualties.
Because they want
the
body count.
They want the body count. Now, what Israel has to do, and I think we can all agree on this, and I've said this numerous times, and this is logic, right? If Hamas, Hezbollah, Al-Qaeda, et cetera, the Arab nations would all say, we're going to have peace with Israel, no more attacks, right? We just want to be trading partners like normal. There'd be peace in the Middle East tomorrow. If Israel lays down their weapons, every Jew in Israel will be killed.
All right. On that thought, 21 after the hour, quick timeout. Back in a moment with Representative Scott Cepicky at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy talking about the Glock store and inviting you to a pretty cool experience I'm planning on going over this week as well. It's a one-of-a-kind experience called the AccuShoot LFX Live Fire Simulator. It's happening starting tomorrow, the 23rd, through Saturday, the 27th. The AccuShoot LFX is a fully interactive experience that allows you to shoot at a variety of animated targets with live fire in a time drill that is automatically and instantly scored. Now, I'm going over because there were a lot of aspersions were cast about my firing experience at the Glock store in the past, where I won the quick draw firing experience, and people were like, well, Murphy, you got more than one shot at it. And I did. I got like 10 shots at it, and everybody else got one. But one way or the other, I'm going to be a part of this, too. Every day, now, I don't get to win prizes, but you might. Every day, top shooters in the AccuShoot LFX will win the daily prize drill. Valuable prizes like the Real Avid gunsmithing tools and O-Sight red dot optics. And then when the week's over, there will be a grand prize, and that wins a Dira DY9 pistol. And if you've not heard of those, ask about them when you stop by the Glock store. Stop by and say hello. Create an account. Your AccuShoot shooter profile account at the Glock store. Pay $10 plus ammo if you need it. Pick your choice of 5 shooting drills from mild to wild, and there you go. The AccuShoot LFX event starting tomorrow through Saturday at the Glock store, minutes away from the airport. Worth the drive from anywhere. I tell you all the time that homeowners trust USS. It's simply a fact, and the numbers bear it out, right? So over 30,000 satisfied customers over 30 years at USS. And when I say over 30 years, they started the business in 1994. So they're going on, 32 now, I guess, all total. USS is simply the best when it comes to waterproofing repair, when it comes to foundation repair or concrete leveling of your home. And it's what they do. When it comes to large home repairs like this, it can be confusing, and you don't know what's a big deal and what's not a big deal. You need to know, and USS, they are problem solvers in that field. They never try to upsell you on anything. It's not what they do. That's why they get that satisfaction rating that they have. They simply tell you what's going on. They try to save you as much money as possible. They fix what ails your home, and then you can rest peacefully at night. Keeping homes stable and dry since 1994, it's USS. Homeowners trust USS. 615-488-7855, 488-7855, or USSTN.com, USSTN.com.
President Trump autism speech, Tylenol and doctors, coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and Representative Scott Cepicky for another 5 minutes or so. We'll get to that newscast, get an Income Boops coming up after that. Chris Hand's going to stop by via Zoom. in the 6 o'clock hour. I know he was on briefly on his own show this morning. Brian Wilson filled in for the first couple of hours, and then Chris jumped in the last hour. He was running a little bit late coming back from Arizona, but I just wanted to talk to him about his experience at the memorial service yesterday for Charlie Kirk, talking with Scott Cepicky about his experience in Israel and getting some good critical questions. A lot of the critical questions surrounding Israel involves American money going to the state of Israel and whether that is necessary. And secondarily, a lot of the money that American politicians take from groups supporting Israel, primarily AIPAC. And I'm just throwing it out there where you can kind of give us your thoughts on it. I hear a lot from people about they're concerned about how money influences the politics of America involving Israel. How do you respond to that?
Well, AIPAC is a political pact that looks for people that support the relationship between the United States and Israel, where there's 700,000 Americans living there. 700,000. They want policies that keep that trade flowing between between the United States and Israel. One of the things, there's 3 things we're working on right now as a delegation with Israel for specifically Tennessee. One is using our ag launch in West Tennessee and Memphis to partner with the innovation parts of agriculture in Israel to bring those ideas to Tennessee and get them in the ground to see if they work here in the States. Other one is medical residency exchanges with the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and Sheba Medical Center to train our doctors in the latest techniques over there. And then also looking for master's programs for our students to go over to Israel free of charge to work over in Israel in those different parts of things for their masters. And then lastly, partnering with, it's called Startup Nation in Israel. It's one of the biggest conglomerations of private equity firms that are looking for the new ideas, kind of like the Shark Tank, but partnering with Tennessee people who have ideas, but they don't have the equity to get them started, partnering that way. I think to answer your question very succinctly is we have a vested interest in a successful and prosperous Israel and a strong Israel. When we talked to when we talked to Prime Minister Netanyahu, one of the questions was asked is, what do you need from the American people? What do you need? He said, we don't need money. We don't need military aid. We just need your support. That's it. Just support us and let us eliminate these terror organizations that, by the way, can affect us here back home. Let us fight for you on the ground here in Israel, in these countries, to help provide us more secure United States.
Well, I mean, it somewhat answers my question is that they're not asking for anything further from America other than America having their back in terms of being the greatest democracy in the Middle East, obviously.
And by the way, Israel's the only one, the only democracy in the Middle East.
And so in terms of ending the war, how close do you think they are?
Well, when we were there up in northern Gaza, they made it perfectly clear to us that, what is today, Monday? Wednesday was when the final push was going to happen. They had mobilized multiple tank divisions. They had all their supplies. They were going to start basically in eastern Gaza, which borders Israel, and they were going to make a concerted push towards the ocean. And they were going to look for the rest of their hostages. They have an idea where they are. They are going to do everything they can to decimate and eliminate Hamas in Gaza, and then turn the country with probably some type of police force there. We don't want to do what we did in Afghanistan, to pull out, and then this vacuum come in behind it, like we've seen in Syria, where Hamas or Hezbollah comes back in to provide security for the Palestinian Gaza inhabitants, that they can now have a chance at a normal life and rebuild it.
And in such a way, do you think that they're going to hand it back to the Palestinians so long as the Hamas is not in control?
As long as there's not a terrorist organization that's in control and they're self-governing, yeah, I think their goal is to turn it back into them and start training.
Because it doesn't feel like they have so much issue. I mean, the West Bank, it's my understanding, is controlled by what is called the PA, the Palestinian Authority. And, I mean, I understand. I mean, am I understanding this wrong? That
a little bit. So the West Bank overlooks Tel Aviv, and is probably 20 miles tops. And so the West Bank is very strategic because it's on an overlook. It overlooks Ben Gurion Airport and it overlooks Tel Aviv. And so if you allow terrorists to control that, they could have missiles there that could strike Tel Aviv in probably 20, 30 seconds or shoot down civilian airliners. So I don't think there's much of an appetite to turn, quote unquote, the West Bank over because it's very advantageous for their enemies to have control of it. Now, currently in the West Bank, and we were there, Matt, they took us there, Arabs and Israelis live side by side, and they don't really have much of a problem. Their problems is where Hamas, Hezbollah, Al-Qaeda, Islamic Jihad has gotten control of everything. And for a while there, Israel was sending millions of dollars to Hamas to just leave us alone. Hush money. And they used that money to build terror networks and tunnels. And we saw what happened on October 7th.
I'm so happy that you were able to relate our trip. I'm glad you got to go over, and I'm glad that you got to relate the trip to us. And I mean, it's obviously a conversation that will continue throughout the course of the weeks and months to come. And hey, I want everybody to note, visit with Scott Cepicky. We didn't talk about education.
No, shocker.
How about that?
How about that?
So you folks that get mad at us for talking too much about education, there you go.
There is something else in the portfolio.
Education next time, okay?
That's fine, buddy.
All right, 32 after the hour on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Still seeing some pretty strong storms out there, just pockets of it. Right now, the strongest I'm seeing is along and south of I-40, Mount Juliet, Lebanon, getting some of that. Then back to the west of Nashville, got another heavy pocket just west of Dixon. All this activity just popping up and moving to the east-northeast whenever it does. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. President Trump announced the FDA will notify doctors that pregnant women should not take Tylenol due to an increased risk of autism. Speaking at the White House today, President Trump says he's convinced the link exists.
In those who ask questions, everyone should be grateful for those who are trying to get the answers to this complex situation.
The maker of Tylenol released a statement ahead of the speech defending the over-the-counter drug is safe for expectant moms. Jimmy Kimmel Live will be back on the air this week. It comes after executives at Disney made the decision to suspend production of the show, they said at the time, indefinitely. Kimmel made comments about the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's murder. We get more from ABC's Melissa Adon.
Had made that decision to suspend production on the show. This, they said, in order to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. The statement also reading, it is a decision, quote, we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. They have said that they've spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy. And after those conversations, that is where the Walt Disney Company says they reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Again, we have some scattered showers and thunderstorms, and right now, particularly causing some problems on I-40 if you are east of Lebanon. That's where some of the heaviest rain is right now in Middle Tennessee. We got a number of accidents to go over with you. Madison, Briley Parkway eastbound just past 65 north. Glencliff, a crash 24 eastbound at Briley Parkway. Dixon still showing a crash, right lane block 40 westbound at near exit 163. In South Nashville, police reporting a crash 440 eastbound right there at I-24. In Hillwood, police say there's a crash 40 westbound at Charlotte Pike. Back here in South Nashville, an accident 24 westbound at Murfreesboro Pike. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for U.S. Pest. U.S. Pest is your one-stop shop for all things bugs and creepy crawlies and nasties and spiders and roaches and all of them. I mean, it just gives me the willies thinking about some of the bugs that can come into your house and take over. And now that it's getting cool outside, you know they're coming in, right? They're coming in, and they're going to take over if you let them. But J.K. and Erica Brister say no. Don't allow this to happen. Get with U.S. Pest today for full-service pest control with a 100% money-back guarantee. Termite protection, also a 100% money-back guarantee. Preventative and corrective services available. And crawl space service available for you as well, whether it's spiders or stink bugs, ladybugs or roaches, or, my goodness gracious, brown recluses, termites, fire ants. They're all coming in. They're trying to get what's yours. They want what's yours, and you can get protected through U.S. Pest. Two things you know about U.S. Pest. They love the United States of America, and they hate bugs. USPest.com or 590-1260, 590-1260. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Folks, pain is bad. You probably know that. Pain is not a good thing to experience. Well, I'm here to tell you that at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, they understand that, which is why they introduced their Big Daddy Trump Special. The Big Daddy Trump Special, $12 for a comprehensive examination, x-rays if needed, and a well-explained diagnosis and a first treatment. You heard me correctly. For $12, you're right. They want you in. They want to talk with you about the modern techniques, the spinal decompression, the technologies that are available that can help alleviate your pain without the worry of having to use needles, without having to pop pills, and without the concern for surgery. That's what it's all about, friends. Protecting you and getting you healthy and pain-free without surgery, without spinal injections, and without pills. That's what they do at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. So call Dr. Mitch. I made the switch to Dr. Mitch, and you're invited to as well, Dr. Ashley and the rest of the team at the Wellness Institute, 615-246-5009, 246-5009, or painisbad.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Jason writes in and says, our representatives are being bought and sold. They no longer have our best interest in mind. I should note that Representative Scott Cepicky says he does not receive AIPAC money. So, and by the way, you're not going to. So AIPAC is a political action committee that exists in the United States of America. They are not permitted. People believe that they do, but they are not permitted to have in-depth communication with the nation of Israel. Otherwise, they would have to register as a foreign national interest. AIPAC is an American political action committee, and a lot of people have decided that they're just they're the boogeyman, and they're bad, and that including their money in American politics is somehow perverting American politics and American political interest. And the response that I've always had to that is, do you feel the same way about the NRA? Do you? Or maybe it's just the NRA is a group of like-minded people that get together and they pool their money. Money is speech, by the way. They pool their money together and they attempt to present their like-minded special interest to political figures, and they give to some of those political figures that they believe support the causes that they champion. Well, I believe that AIPAC does that, and AIPAC's cause is support of Israel. I do not believe that any of our money should be going to any foreign governments right now. Any of them. Israel included, by the way. Okay? So, once again, I do not believe that we should be spending American money from our government on foreign nations at all, while we continue to overspend in the trillions of dollars annually. Brian, the AIPAC is not a foreign organization either. You can believe that they are, but they're not. So Brian writes in and says the NRA is not a foreign organization. Well, AIPAC is not a foreign organization either. They're organized here in the United States of America, and they receive their money from American people. Now, it's fine if you believe that there's something else going on, and that's a debatable point. And if they are found to be receiving any money from the state of Israel, they have to register as a foreign state actor, and there are different rules that govern them as a foreign state actor. But they are considered, according to the United States of America, as the same thing as the NRA or the pharmaceutical industry or the alcohol industry or any other lobbying organization. And if you want to change that designation, if anyone wants to change that designation, all you need to do is present the evidence that they should have different rules applied to them than other political action committees based on where they're getting their money from. And if you do that, then I'm with you. Look, I wish that I could wave a magic wand and take all of the money out of all of this, but I can't, nor can you. And money is speech. Money is speech. Don't be daft, 4460. It's American. What does the A stand for in AIPAC? I understand what the Political Action Committee is, and I understand what they do. They lobby for the nation of Israel. That's what they do. But they are an American lobbying organization, no different from the NRA. As much as y'all want them to be, they're not. And if you want to change the rules for AIPAC, then you have to change them for the NRA, and you have to change them for the pharmaceutical. I mean, and some want to suggest that there's a way to get all the money out of it, and I don't know how to do that. I wish we could. Once again, just to remind you, because y'all get all mad at me, I don't believe that any of our tax dollars should be going to any foreign country right now. With that in mind, maybe you think I'm the nincompoop in the news. I don't know. It's time for nincompoops in the news. I know that.
Nincompoops in the news.
Wow, 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 wow. That's right, ladies and germs. Belly up to the old radio. It's time for your favorite segment and mine. It's time for Nincompoops in the News, where Ken Weaver, our illustrious newsman extraordinaire, Jackson Williams, the not-so-illustrious executive producer of this show, and yours truly, Matt Murphy, we gather together and we present 3 separate nincompoop stories. And then you get to vote on which one's your favorite. Ken's, Jackson's, or Matt's.
Who won on Friday?
I don't know.
Me neither.
I don't know. Well,
Ken, you got any idea?
Here's the deal. If nobody knows who won,
Ken Weaver goes first.
I assume that Ken Weaver has won and Ken Weaver goes first because we love Ken Weaver to death. And the only way that I can beat Ken and his nincompoop stories is if he goes first and somehow people start forgetting how good his nincompoop story was by the time we get to mine. So notice when Ken goes first, Murphy goes last. I don't know if y'all have noticed that or not. That is on purpose.
I'm going last today.
That is on purpose. No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Odds or evens, Matt?
Odds.
I can't flip you off on my camera.
Ken, we'll work this out on our own time. What's your nincompoop, sir?
You boys ready for this one out of Evansville, Indiana? Happened on Thursday. A woman steals T-bone steaks from grocery, tries to bribe an officer to avoid arrest. Evansville, Indiana PD officers say they responded to investigate a theft report at the Schnucks on Washington Avenue on Thursday. 44-year-old Anitra Patterson had allegedly scanned other groceries at self-checkout, but failed to scan $128 worth of T-bone steaks before leaving the store. Well, Asset Protection was able to convince Patterson to come back inside and talk.
Huh.
Officers said they were shown security camera footage of Patterson taking the steaks from the store. After placing Patterson in handcuffs and reading her rights, police say she admitted to stealing the steaks. But then when Patterson was placed in a patrol vehicle to be taken to jail, Evansville police say she offered to pay an officer $250 if he had let her go. Patterson was booked into the Vanderburgh County Jail on charges of theft and obstruction of justice. I think had she not tried to bribe the cop, she might have just been gotten off with a slap on the hand.
Probably so.
But,
Probably so.
Hey, you want a T-bone if you let me go.
All I can think of is I saw a story a couple of years ago, and I know it's a different story, of a woman that tried to steal steaks, and she had stuffed them all in her pants.
Yeah.
And she had on those tight jogging breeches, and she was the size of a woman that never should have had on those jogging breeches.
Yes, sir.
And, yeah. So, anyway, that's all I'm thinking about when you're telling me the story about a woman stealing T-bones.
I got $250 right here. You let me go.
Come on, buddy.
Should have just paid for the T-bones with that $250.
Come on,
exactly.
pal. That's liquor money. I don't know what she's doing. I mean, why not? Yeah, why don't
Well, if you can bribe the cop with it.
You could probably just go ahead and pay for the T-bone.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I love is when they have to wait until you leave the store in order to get you for the shoplifting, because people go, oh, no, I wasn't going to steal that. Ma'am, it's down your pants in your crotch. Oh, I wasn't going to steal it. I was just holding it there to keep it warm. Jackson, do you want me to go next? I'm happy to.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we go across the pond to Manchester, England, where a woman, little pitchers alert. Little pitchers alert. You know, little pitchers, big ears. Little pitchers, big ears.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you have any young ones in the automobile with you, just give me about not even 60 seconds, 30 seconds.
Here we go.
A woman who conceived a baby by using a stranger's
stuff.
Excrement.
Excrement? Oh, what? No.
Is that not the right word?
No, stuff is better. Sperm.
Specimen.
Sperm.
Specimen.
We're all grown-ups here.
Are we?
A woman who conceived a baby by using a stranger's specimen, sourced for free through Facebook, says that she, quote, has no regrets, but also advises people that she would absolutely never recommend anyone do this, end quote.
I bet.
Laura Coldman, 33, found herself single in August of 2018, and she was desperate to have another child. She was already a mother to a 6-year-old and wanted to give her son a sibling. She turned to Facebook groups to locate a donor.
Goodness.
2 months after joining, a donor messaged Laura directly, offering his services.
Excrement.
It's not. Why are you saying that? I don't think.
Because it's funny.
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
Secretions?
That word is more appropriate, but don't say that one again either. I think
Goodness.
Good Lord, Jackson. Laura requested reviews on the donor from a private group chat with mothers who had children via donation, and says he came highly recommended. She traveled to visit the donor in South Yorkshire and attended his house, or she went to his house, and I'm not going to get into a lot of this. She discovered she was pregnant by July of 2021. Her little boy, Callum Anthony Ryan, was born April 21, 2022, weighing 8 pounds, 8 ounces. Despite being the light of her life, Laura says she would advise against this type of donation over Facebook because, quote, you never know what you're really going to get. And that's all I have to say about that. This woman's a nincompoop. I hope the baby's fine. Jackson.
All right, a Florence.
Excrement.
Secretions. We could just keep going into euphemisms
Ken,
for this.
I'm so sorry. There was a time when Ken Weaver's an award-winning newscaster who has worked with people like Dan Mandis and Brian Wilson. And now you're putting him through this, Jackson. Do you understand that? This man has won awards. Stop. This man deserves better than you. I mean, treat me like this all you want, Jackson, but Weaver deserves better than your excrement.
I love Brother Jackson.
You both chose this. A Florence teacher's assistant has been arrested by authorities after being accused of creating a foul odor using poop spray at a high school. According to the Florence County Sheriff's Office, between August 25th and September 19th, Alexander Lewis, a teaching assistant at West Florence High School, is alleged to have sprayed an odor designed to imitate fecal matter acquired on the line. Using the spray caused disruption at the school and required children to seek medical attention for respiratory issues.
Poo juice!
West Florence was also required to spend $55,000 for inspection and damages to the school's air conditioning system, according to authorities. Lewis is 32 years old and being held at the local jail while he awaits bond. The situation remains under investigation, and additional charges could be filed.
And authorities are looking into 3 unexplained pregnancies.
Just play the video. Just play the video.
That's a good one.
There I was in the bathroom. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened.
I swear. The best part of this, nincompoops, are the people that are talking directly to Jackson on the Super Talk text line.
What are they saying?
Oh, Lord Jackson, we need to talk to your mother. Jason writes in and says, will someone give Jackson the birds and the bees talk? It has nothing to do with poo. We'll let him know, y'all. Vote Weaver. Vote Murphy. Don't encourage Jackson Williams, please. It's 53 after the hour. That's nincompoops on Super Talk. Grace Point Healthcare, affordable, convenient, comprehensive medicine in an old-fashioned format. That means they're a direct pay primary care provider, and I absolutely love it. I've been to Grace Point, and I am a customer of Grace Point. I'm a patient of Grace Point, and I love them. I love what they do. They're located right in the heart of Franklin, across the street from the old hospital. For those that remember the old school hospital over there, Grace Point's across the street. And they have been in that building for a while now. They recreated the building, but they saved some of the old, because it's been a doctor's office for a long time. They have an old doctor's room. Just ask them to go in there. It's like an old 1960s feel that they kept from the old building. They just do that to remind folks what medicine used to be like, and that it can be that way again, but with all of the modern technologies of 2025. Grace Point Healthcare does not believe in allowing the insurance company to get into the way between you and your doctor. They never let that happen. Plus, they believe that you should know exactly what your coverage is costing, what the service is costing before it's ever provided, and that's what they do. Now, you can always file with your insurance company for reimbursement. The bottom line is this: they're great at what they do. You can get in same day or next day, even for new patients, and you can sign up for the Smart Care Plan. Ask them about that when you go to Grace Point's 599-6868, 599-6868, or Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. Years ago, when I became a homeowner, I realized that, your lawn is not just about cutting the grass in the summertime to keep it healthy, and it's not just about fertilizing it in the spring. It's about more than that. It's about herbicide and fertilizer and lawn control in the fall to get the lawn ready for winter, to make sure that it's healthy through the dormant season so that you get a healthier lawn back in the spring. I learned this years ago, but I wish I had Dick and Sturf and Landscape Supply when I found it out, because they are your local source for fertilizer, weed control, insecticide, and so much more. Knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. Obviously, they've got the best lawn equipment going. They've got everything that you need for the fall season. If you need a leaf blower, I bet they got a leaf blower over there at Dick and Sturf and Landscape Supply. Bottom line is this: in Nashville, Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Brentwood, Mower, Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, and Franklin, they have what you need, plus they have the information that you desire as well. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a homeowner seeking advice, they're your one-stop shop for parts, products, and supplies. Go where the pros go. Dick and Sturf and Landscape Supply. Friends, 7 locations, no excuses. Go to dickandsupply.com this fall, dickandsupply.com.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Right now, the heaviest rain in Middle Tennessee is going to be over Dixon. And it looks like we're going to continue this pattern through Wednesday. Just some off and on showers and storms, some of them with the potential to go severe, but a very low risk of that happening. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Well, this is some breaking news. President Trump has just signed that executive order that designates Antifa a domestic terrorist organization. And he announced that the FDA will notify doctors that pregnant women should not take Tylenol due to an increased risk of autism. Speaking at the White House today, President Trump says he's convinced the link exists. The president also said he believes doctors should spread out vaccines given to newborns.
They pump so much stuff into those beautiful little babies. It's a disgrace. I don't see it. I think it's very bad.
The maker of Tylenol releasing a statement ahead of the speech defending the over-the-counter drug is safe for expectant moms. Right now in Nashville, Channel 4 has reaction to a bizarre crime downtown over the weekend. A victim kicked, punched, put in a headlock. The attackers stole his shoes. One of them was wearing a costume.
Everybody's in listening to music, so some guy in a gorilla suit attacking people is kind of out there, pretty far out there, in fact. But especially at 4:30 in the morning, boy. Just a little drunk, probably, huh?
Yeah, police identified the man in the gorilla suit as 18-year-old Xavier Rhodes. He and a 22-year-old man were jailed and then bonded out, even though they're charged with felony robbery. Late-night comedian Jimmy Kimmel returning to the air. Here's ABC's Mike Nabusky.
Jimmy Kimmel Live is expected to air a new episode Tuesday night, days after Disney suspended production on the show after Kimmel's comments following the killing of conservative influencer Charlie Kirk. Disney, the parent company of ABC News, said the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. After days of what they call thoughtful conversations with Kimmel, they reached the decision to return the show.
And in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murder, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says President Trump plans to sign an executive order designated Antifa as a terrorist organization. And again, he has just done that. NASA is getting some new astronauts. Let's check in with Mike Nabusky again.
At a ceremony at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas.
It's an exciting time to be here, and I couldn't be more thrilled and honored.
Anna Menon was one of 6 women and 4 men picked to begin a 2-year astronaut training program. Aaron Overcash described getting the call.
And the first words that I said on the phone were, "No way." I mean, yes, of course.
After training, the new astronauts will crew missions to the International Space Station, the Moon, and one day, possibly, Mars. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Police reporting a crash 440 eastbound at I-24, then 24 eastbound past Shelby Avenue. And in Dixon, Tennessee, they were still working a crash 40 westbound near Centerville, Dixon, Tennessee 48, exit 163. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the final hour of this Monday edition has come, and it cannot be over soon enough, especially considering the last 15 minutes of broadcast. I think 26-37 speaks for everyone in the listening audience when they say, I don't think I'm voting for any of you. That's pretty good.
Why?
I thought that was a great segment.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was a great segment until you started randomly screaming excrement for some reason.
You did that.
Oh, no. I screamed. That was self-defense, pal. That was self-defense. I was pushing back. I don't know that you knew what excrement meant, but apparently you did because you gave a lovely story about the spray.
I thought it could be either or.
What?
Things can mean two things.
You know, I don't want to talk about this anymore with you. I think you won, by the way.
Woo.
I don't
want to go, Brother Jackson.
I don't understand how that is, but I think you won, by the way.
Poop wins.
I guess for nincompoops, sometimes poop wins. All right, final hour of the show. I'm very excited to talk to our brother, Chris Hand, who obviously he was on his own show a little late today because of flight delays and whatnot. But we wanted to speak with him personally and tell him or just get a sense from him how the event went in person. It was just an incredibly emotional day for really all of America, or at least anybody that watched portions of or all of the memorial service for Charlie Kirk yesterday out of Arizona. Our good friend, our colleague, our buddy, our brother, Chris Hand joins us on the program. Hey, Chris.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
I'm doing well. I hope you are. You get any sleep yet?
No, I've probably slept 5 hours in the last 2 days.
Whew.
So,
well,
it's been a doozy.
I bet it has. I know you're running on a lot of adrenaline right now and just a lot of emotion from yesterday. And I texted you last night, and what I tried to text, I don't know if I got it through to you, was I can't imagine what it was like in person. I can't imagine what any of this is like for someone who knew Charlie personally and knew so many of these people that spoke to us yesterday personally. And I just can only imagine the powerful emotions that were in that arena yesterday. Tell us about it.
I mean, it was a range of emotions. A lot of it felt so surreal. We've done so many of these Turning Point events now that it was so similar to a lot of Turning Point events, so different at the exact same time. But the production quality and stuff like that, it really felt like a Turning Point event. So we kind of kept waiting for Charlie to walk out, and that was kind of a vibe constantly between myself and a few of the Turning Point contributors. But the event on a whole, I've never been a part of something like that. And I'll tell you a little story. Like when we first got there, my wife and I, we realized there's a massive crowd, and we had press badges. We didn't really know where to go in. So I get a text from Joe Bob, who hosts a show on Real America's Voice, and he's a Turning Point contributor, good friend. And he said, my wife and I, and his wife is pregnant, like real pregnant, like gonna have a baby tomorrow, pregnant. Said, my wife and I are in the hotel lobby at the Renaissance. Why don't you just come over here and we can game plan what we should do? So I said, perfect. So we met up with him, his wife, and a couple other employees, and we said, all right, I think we have a squad. Let's just walk over there and let's figure it out. So from the jump, we walk up, and there's a crowd of about 100,000 people.
Wow!
And I've never seen anything like this in my life. I've never witnessed it secondhand. I've never been a part of anything like this. But the crowd, once they realized we were staff, they parted for us.
Wow.
And the crowd notified other members of the crowd up ahead, staff is coming through and they need to get in. And this sea of 100,000 people just split for us. I've never seen anything like that. And I think you'd be hard pressed to even find sports fans doing that for their team.
Mm-hmm.
It was unbelievable, but that was the tone from the jump. The people that were in attendance were there for a reason, and the reason was grieving, and they were mourning. When we got in there, and it was empty. I was there by 6 a.m. So the entire arena is empty, and it was really quiet, eerily quiet. And then once the arena filled up and we got into some speakers, when people were talking, you'd hear that same quietness. You could almost hear a pin drop in the arena. 70,000 people, for it to be as quiet as it was when people were speaking is rather remarkable. And then from the beginning with the worship music, 70,000 people praising the Lord in one building is something I've never been a part of either. And it was really something to be seen. It was very encouraging. There were certain points that I know you couldn't see on the live stream, but I kept noticing it, where I would look up to the top of the rafters and I would see, just 2 or 3 guys with their arms up praising the Lord during the worship songs. And it was from the tip top of the building to the very floor, everybody was praising Jesus. And Charlie always had a dream to fill these arenas, and that's exactly what he did yesterday. And it was totally unique. I don't know if we'll ever see something like that again. I hope we do. I pray we do. But for the people in attendance, the overflow stadium that was filled up as well, the 100 million streams that we have just off the jump, we witnessed the single biggest proclamation of Jesus in the history of the world.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, and Erica and I talked about this yesterday, that I said, we've not seen any religious experience like this since maybe, I know Billy Graham had some pretty big stadium events, but you would have to probably go back to a Billy Graham style evangelical crusade to say that you see this many people in that large of a space, all unified in their love of Jesus. I mean, it is just amazing to watch from home.
Yeah, Billy Graham put up some numbers. I think it was like 45,000 at Dodger Stadium. We also had an outdoor mass with the Pope that had 200,000 people.
Right.
You know, one of the things that they didn't have the advantage of, though, is the internet.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And with the internet, to be able to spread this to all the corners of the globe is something completely unique. And we're just scratching the surface of the numbers on the internet, because this is going to live on forever. And if you were to calculate the clips, the reels, the TikToks, and the shorts in conjunction with guys like you and me talking about it and playing clips, this is going to reach billions of views. There's no way it doesn't.
Right. No, and it feels like it all built, and I want to talk about Trump for a moment, but it all built to that moment. That was just an incredible show of Christ-like love from Erica Kirk. And I get choked up even bringing it up to you. Every time I've seen it, I've cried. Every time I think about it, I want to cry, because the unimaginable godly spirit that led her to that moment it's just overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, we knew she was strong. We saw that in her address on Friday night, 2 days after the assassination. I don't think any of us knew that she was that strong. And when I see that example of strength, Christ-like strength, I realize I'm not half as strong as that, because I still hold a lot of anger, and
me too.
I'm not ready to forgive. But I feel like, now it's like Charlie set the example, and Erica's going to continue that example, and I guess that's what we need to do. But I will say, forgiveness doesn't mean absence of justice.
Well, that's right. And obviously, I mean, and it's funny because I was talking to Jason Whitlock earlier. I had him on the show. And by the way, Jason says that he's sorry that I grabbed him first. He was like, "Tell Hand I'm sorry." And I was like, he'll get it. He'll understand. But we were talking with Whitlock about, because of his comments about Christian nationalism and how we need to bring that back into the public square and whatnot. And we were talking about her ability to forgive. And I think he said this off air. I don't know if he said it on air. He was like, "Well, listen, you and I need to bring the justice. She can bring the forgiveness for now, and we'll try to catch up with her later." I'm like, "Amen, brother. I'm right there with you."
That's how I feel.
Yeah. And then Trump brought in, we were talking about this earlier too. I mean, Trump brought a different feel to it. His was more of a celebration of life. I didn't mind it. Some people felt like it was too much like a political rally. What were your thoughts on that?
So, I mean, given how the other speeches went, where they were very concise, very on Charlie, it did feel off. I wouldn't say it was his best speech. I will say that and this is just me knowing a little inside baseball, there was a lot of internal discussions on how to handle that. Do you have Trump go on and then potentially have people leave because he goes on for an hour because Trump can't stay on script for 10 minutes and he's never known a 10-minute speech in his life?
Right.
Does Trump close? Does Erica close? There was a lot of internal conversations. Personally, I think he should have done 15, 20 minutes left, let Erica come on stage, and it should have been completely in reverse, where Trump came out to comfort Erica and not the other way around. Hindsight's 20/20. There could have been other things going on at the exact same time that we don't know about that could have changed things. Maybe Erica was a bit more upset backstage, or maybe she said, "No, I'm ready. I can do it now." Maybe it was a game time decision. I'm not privy to that information, but I do know that the discussions were going back and forth for quite a while on how it was going to be carried out.
I mean, either way, I think it was just such a wonderful moment for America, for the world. It is one of those moments in time where I'm standing in my living room and I don't feel like I'll ever forget where I was when I'm watching some of this. Because when I was watching Erica Kirk, Chris, and I'm not trying to make more, me, right? I'm the ultimate contrarian, but I'm like, in the absence of Charlie on this earth, we are seeing someone who has been called to action more so than she's already been called.
Yeah.
And she is answering that call in real time. And I'm like, this is the beginning of something. I don't know where this is about to go, but it feels like this is trampolining Turning Point and Erica and potentially the United States of America in a new direction. And I'm very excited to see where that goes.
Well, I mean, have we ever seen an entire cabinet of the United States, up to and including the president, get on a stage and proclaim Jesus Christ before?
I don't think so. Not for a long time. Not for a long time. Not for a long time.
It's an unbelievable moment. Rubio, I thought Rubio did a fantastic job. I thought RFK, I think it hit him the hardest. Again, this is not stuff that you really saw on camera during the live stream, but he was broken up quite a bit during the speeches, and I think it's just because the heaviness of the assassination of Charlie, then couple that with his father and his uncle. But I will say this, an understated speech was one Mikey McCoy. Mikey McCoy was Charlie Kirk's chief of staff.
Yes.
And this is a young man. He's 23, 24, didn't go to college, jumped out of high school and went and worked for Charlie. This kid, the just sheer bravery that he has to get up there, how he could not be broken up. And then even more backstory, Frank Turek, who was there, he gave his speech as well, and he told a lot of the backstory of what was happening the day at the university in Utah. But Mikey was in the hotel lobby that night. This is the strength of Mikey McCoy. In the hotel lobby that night going, Frank, you're in scrubs. We need to get you some real clothes because we're all about to hop on Air Force Two. And he was making game time decisions like that. This kid is an example of strength. I mentioned it earlier on my show. If I was looking, and there's no replacing Charlie Kirk, obviously, like that's just never going to happen. But there is going to be somebody that's going to fill that seat.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was a programmer, I'd be looking at Mikey McCoy because that kid has something special.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you for spending. I mean, I know you got a chance. You got on before the show was done. Getting back into town, and you've got a full show to talk about it tomorrow. Thank you for spending just a little bit of time with us, and you know how much we love you and appreciate you, and I know how connected you were to so many of these people, not just in spirit, not just politically, but personally. And it's one of those things where, I'm there in spirit, and I'm there politically, and I'm all those things. And then I think about you a lot because I care for you so much. I'm thinking, man, I don't know how I could get through what you've been through and what the family of Turning Point's been through. And we just appreciate you relating that to us and connecting us in a more special and tender way to Charlie and the movement. And I feel like, somebody wanted to see an end, and what they did was create a beginning. And that's what we're about to experience.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was, and I love you guys too. You guys know that. And we're all like a family. But it's like I have a second family over there as well. And it really is a family over at Turning Point. And they really do have some of the best people in the country working for them. And to be able to get down there and tell them just how proud I am of them and give them hugs. I mean, these guys haven't stopped working. The original email that went out was that the offices were going to be closed until today. And not one department in that building at Turning Point headquarters stopped working. They just worked harder.
Mm-hmm.
And to pull off an event of that magnitude in 7 days where the core of your staff is under 25.
Oh, wow. I had no idea. 25?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the core staff. I mean, obviously, and that is and clearly, there were connections with Secret Service or whatever, but that is a Super Bowl level security event.
Yeah.
That is the highest level security event you can imagine, and it's pulled off in the span of 7 days by grieving people, by people who are still suffering because of the loss of their friend. It's amazing.
Yeah, and here's just a little bit more inside baseball real quick, and I know we're up against it, but originally there was an event planned that day at State Farm Stadium, and the White House called State Farm Stadium and said, guys, Charlie needs a bigger venue. You're going to need to cancel that. And to their credit, they did that for Charlie Kirk.
Well, good for them. I mean, I laugh because it's like I don't care who you are. It's like, hey, excuse me, sir. We have the White House on the line.
Exactly.
I think somebody named President Donald Trump wants to talk to you about commandeering the stadium. That's the point where you, A, take the call, and B, you give up the stadium.
100%. Disney on Ice has to wait.
Oh, more on those guys tomorrow, right? Oh, I got more on that. Yeah, so Disney fails to fulfill any sort of reparations that they were trying to accomplish. We'll talk about that.
Can I just say this real quick on Disney?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think this was a failure at all. I think this was by design. They took the story away from Charlie. They made Jimmy Kimmel the victim. They were able to blame Donald Trump, and it got the news cycle focused on something else. I think there was a clear tactic by the left. I think they're evil for doing it, and I think it was part of the plan all along. Jimmy Kimmel will enjoy 3 days of good ratings, and it's back into the toilet for him.
Yeah, 100% on that front. If they cared at all about money, if this wasn't just symbolism, they would keep him canceled because they've got to be losing money on that show. And I don't know about the motivations behind their tactics, but I will say that their tactics were awful and prearranged from the beginning. They never had any intention of firing the guy. I agree with you there, but
100%.
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate you, brother.
Love you guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, man. Get some rest. There's Chris Hand, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 24 after the hour. Finish up after this. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Efficient Heating and Cooling. I want to talk about the heating for a moment. I know it's been warm. I know that you've had to run that AC over the last week or so, but you know what I know, and you know what I'm about to tell you. That there will come a moment where you're going to pop that heater on. And if you haven't called Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling, if you've not got one of his fine techs out to your home to clean that heating unit, to make sure the coils are clean and free of dust and dander, to make sure that your ductwork is nice and clean, you have put your family at a health risk because of all of that, because of the fact that you're not maintaining the unit properly, and nobody's wagging their finger at you. We're just saying you need to protect the family by getting the maintenance done on your heater. Plus, you're putting yourself at risk of that heater going out during the winter months, and then what do? Let Jeff Eddy and his team get to your heater, make sure that it's running as efficiently as possible. And oh, by the way, you'll never pay over $125 on a maintenance call on your heater with Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling at your residence, no matter how many units you have at your residence. Never over $125 and often less than that with Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. Why? Because he wants you to maintenance that unit to get more life out of that system because, contrary to some of these other guys, Jeff doesn't necessarily delight in replacing your heater, although he'll do it when it comes time, and he's an Elite Pro partner with Rheem, and they can help you pick out that new unit when the time comes. EfficientHVAC.net, EfficientHVAC.net, or call 615-784-4424, 784-4424. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for Genesis Diamonds, fresh off the heels of an incredible event. Genesis Diamonds wants you to know that around these, well, I want you to know that Genesis Diamonds is the go-to place when it comes to jewelry, especially bridal jewelry. They own the engagement ring market here with couples driving for hours to take advantage of their no middleman diamond prices and their incredible designer ring styles. No other store, online or in person, can give you the selection that Genesis can, and I've seen it for myself, and you should too. No matter what style she wants, what look she wants, no matter how big of a diamond she's looking for, what shape, whether it's natural or lab-grown, Genesis most certainly has it. And at Genesis, there's no pressure, no corporate playbook, no Wall Street sales quotas to meet, and no commissions. Their trusted experts at Genesis are never paid on commission. They're there to listen, to help, to guide you, and to help maximize your budget. Whether you have a couple of grand to spend or 200 grand to spend, they're there for you at Genesis Diamonds. And don't forget, in addition to being the leader in engagement rings, Genesis is where you find all the finest fashion jewelry as well. Genesis Diamonds, hands down the best, with the transparency you want, the respect you deserve, and the value you want as well. Learn more at genesisdiamonds.com or stop by Green Hills and Cool Springs. Tell them I sent you to Genesis. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy. And you. It is 6:36. Happy to have you with us on board for the final few minutes of the radio show. Jump online. I mean, we've had a precious few telephone calls today, but we've been open all day. 615-737-9986. That happens on a Monday from time to time. But look who's here. We can depend on Mike and Old Hickory, huh? Hey, Mike.
You can depend on me all the time.
What's up?
And you can depend on me supporting Israel all the time. And so when you made that statement that you wouldn't even send one dime to Israel ever again, that just showed your colors. And then Charlie Kirk.
Wait. What'd you just say, Mike? I missed that. Hold on. What'd you say?
Your last statement about 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, you just said that you are against sending any U.S. money to any countries, including Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't support Israel?
Well, of course I do. Of course I do.
So if they have to...
Wait. You can... So let's think about this, Mike. Let's talk like human beings. not like normal. Okay. So if you're my neighbor and you're going through a tough time, can I support you and assist you without giving you money?
What does it take to defend against missiles and rockets fired against you?
Well, don't believe me. You heard, I mean, Cepicky was on, no bigger supporter in Tennessee of Israel than Cepicky. Cepicky said that Netanyahu said he didn't need money or military aid.
No, he did not say that.
That's exactly what he said, Mike. I was sitting here when he said it.
Matt.
Mike, I was sitting. Mike, why are you lying? I was sitting here when Cepicky said that's what Netanyahu told him.
You said that you would never, ever send money to any of our allies ever again, including Israel.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I said that while our nation is overspending by trillions of dollars and considering the issues that we have here at home with the amount of money that we are overspending, we need to stop sending money to foreign nations, deal with our own issues. I never said that there would not come a time in the future where we would not reach out a financial hand of support to other nations who were in need. I never said that.
But in the meantime, right now, because we are such in debt, let's not support Israel, not send them another dime. But in your arena of radio, TV, and everything, Jimmy Kimmel can now get back on the air and espouse his anti-Israel, anti-Christian.
I don't have anything to do with that. That's ABC's decision, and they'll fail as a result. I mean, Disney.
No, they won't.
Disney and ABC.
No, they won't. No, they won't, because he's back on the air.
I mean, I can hang, Mike. I can hang up on you, and you can talk to yourself, or you can choose to talk to me, and you can remain on the line.
Well, when you look out there in Arizona, the support for Christianity and Judaism, Matt, and if you say that, you know what, because we've got a fiscal problem, then we need to just pull back the money on Israel and not support them. That's what you said.
Israel has stated that they don't need our financial support, Mike.
Netanyahu, do you think Netanyahu came to this country for the last 2 years and said, I don't need your support?
So it's just all about money for him? No. It's not.
It's about
America. No. It's about America backing them up, and America prevents some of the bigger actors in that region from participating in the conflict that Israel is doing very well solving on their own. They don't need us militarily, and they don't need us monetarily. They need our backing and our support that they get to continue to exist, and we're providing them that capably, ably.
And you are now saying that you're against that because we are supporting.
No, Mike, you don't have the ability to hear what I'm saying because I've said it 3 times now and you don't seem to get it.
Apparently, you don't support Israel, even though you just admitted that the U.S. is supporting Israel.
No, what?
And therefore, that's how we're defeating Hamas.
Mike,
Hamas is asking for a 60-day.
Mike,
please give us a 60-day moratorium.
Mike,
and they're asking Trump. Who are they asking? They're not asking Israel.
Mike,
they're asking Trump.
Mike.
Hamas is asking Trump. Not Israel.
Mike.
And you know what Trump's going to say?
I'm going to cut you off. You're either going to shut up or I'm going to hang up on you. Okay? Mike, in the future, you have to engage by listening to what I say and not what you decide you want me to say. Otherwise, there's no point in me. I'm just being honest with you. I'm being very sincere with you. I try to engage with you. I like you. But unless you are willing to listen, I'm not going to take your calls anymore. Because it doesn't do any good. I've told you my position on Israel. I am pro-Israel. I've always been pro-Israel. But that does not...
You should support the United States supporting Israel.
I do. But that doesn't mean that it is not a blank check. It's not a matter of money. They don't need money. They've said they don't need money, Mike.
God, Matt. You know what, man?
God what?
Maybe I can't talk to you anymore.
God what?
Because you are so
excuse me.
What?
Excuse me. Excuse me.
World,
so
man.
how much money is enough support then? If it's all about money, then let's turn this around on you. Then you tell me what amount of money is good enough.
If we don't support our own,
is it a trillion? Is it a trillion? Is it $1 trillion? Is it a gajillion dollars?
Don't support.
You're not listening. You're not listening. You're not listening.
Matt,
You're not listening.
you listen out there in Arizona, Matt? Did you listen out there in Arizona?
Are you getting mad? What are you getting mad about?
Damn right, because you are being taken over by the left. You're the one that doesn't like Israel.
What?
You're the one that does like Christianity.
Are you trying to get?
You're the one.
What are you talking about?
You're the one that gets on the air and says, "Hey, if you don't have a discussion with me, I'll cut you off."
Well, I'll prove you correct. I do say that, and I just did that. So go pound sand, pal. I have done a show today on Christian nationalism. I've done a show today about the impact that the Charlie Kirk memorial service had. I've done a show today also highlighting the needs of Israel. But those needs don't come necessarily with a blank American check. And most, if not all, reasonable people understand that. And Benjamin Netanyahu himself has said that it's not about money. Now, you can believe that or not believe that, but I'm going to take him at his word. And I believe that America can have the back of Israel. We can be an ally of Israel. We can share information. We can share technologies. We can share even a certain level of military aid in terms of arms and whatnot without needing to open up a blank check and spending money that we don't already have. We don't have that money to spend. We are $37 trillion in debt and growing. It is the greatest existential threat in America today. If you need to know anything about this radio show, know that I'm going to default to not spending money on that thing or that project or that country until we get our financial books in order. We will cease to exist. We will corrupt from within. Socialism will win. The way that this works, for those of you that don't understand it, like Mike, if we continue to overspend, the government will collapse from within, and socialism will blame the free markets for the collapse. Socialists will blame the capitalists. They will convince the poorest among us that the capitalist failed us when it's truly the overspending of the government that failed us. And when they do that, they will turn this country into a centralized, federalized system that centralizes power amongst the rich and the well-heeled and the well-connected in Washington, D.C. And they will turn us into a socialized nation without firing a shot if our national economy collapses due to our burdensome debt and the service of that debt. They will blame the free markets because of their overspending. That is my concern. That is my fear. That is why I say cut it off, because you cannot make exceptions. Even with Israel, our greatest ally in the Middle East, if you start making exceptions, there will be exceptions for everybody and every program and everything. Why do you think I'm against FEMA, for goodness sake? Oh, my God, Matt, how can you be against FEMA? Because I don't think it accomplishes what it claims to accomplish. I think it wastes a lot of money. And I believe that the states could accomplish far more with far less money than the federal government. And I could go on and on about government programs and entitlements and the like. The point is this. I will consistently argue, no matter who wants to hear it, that the greatest threat our country faces is from our own overspending. Even greater than China. But China's getting there. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I agree with Jeff. The entire Mike call was real down. Mike, I had such high hopes for that call. And once again, I shouldn't have, because once again, you've dashed my hopes. I try to have a productive conversation, and we're left with you screaming about me not supporting Israel, which is the stupid. I mean, look, I was getting screamed at on the super text line not an hour ago about being a suck up and a kiss ass for AIPAC. I guess it's a good day that if on one side people say that I'm sucking up to the Jews, and on the other side the guy says I'm anti-Israel, then I must be doing something right. It's 48 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My gracious. My goodness. If y'all think Mike is mad, y'all should hear Jackson talking about Tennessee, the Titans. If y'all think Mike is mad about me, y'all should hear Jackson Williams talking about Tennessee. Jackson, are you ready for a new coach? I mean, you can talk about this, right? You work over there a little bit, but can you publicly discuss your fandom?
I'm not going to publicly call for his firing, but it's not looking good for him.
Right, and it's not, as you and I were talking about during the break, it's not, I think most Titans fans, and I've been here since 21, but I've been a Titans fan. I said my allegiance is with the Tennessee Titans as soon as I move into Nashville, Tennessee. I've never lived in an NFL town. I live in an NFL town. I'm going to support the NFL team. I love the Titans. Go Titans. I mean, when I got here in 21, they were going to the playoffs.
They were good.
They were good.
Been a long time.
I think they lost to the
Cincy.
Bengals. Yeah. Hosted a playoff game.
I was at that game.
And now, since then, I mean, is it my fault? Maybe.
I blame Matt Murphy.
Maybe. But, so I'm a Titans guy too, but I don't think that fans, you tell me if I'm wrong, Jackson, you're smarter about sports than me. I don't think fans expect a winning season. I don't think they expect a playoff season. I think they expect to feel a little better about the competency on the field.
Yeah, the penalties and the in-game decision-making just have not been at an NFL level this season through 3 weeks.
And by the way, I think based on caller reaction and based on super text reaction, I mean, do we need to call an indefinite suspension of Mike's calls?
No.
Do we need to indefinitely suspend Mike? I mean, like Jimmy Kimmel got indefinitely suspended.
So we bring him back after like 2 days?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think we should indefinitely suspend Mike
until he calls back.
From being able to call until he calls back, and then we'll take it on a case by case basis. Why was Mike so mad at me?
I don't know, man.
I don't know either. 1513 says, thanks. You did well with that jerk. I don't know that Jackson's that much of a jerk, but. Oh, you mean Mike. Oh, you mean Mike. Oh, he meant Mike. My bad. 3043, you really need to stop taking Mike's calls. Last few times, I swear you're going to have a stroke. I was fine. And, Mike is just, come on. No, this gets better. You really need to stop taking Mike's calls because the last few times, I swear you were going to have a stroke. Then Jackson would have to take over the show. Then where would we be? That's a great point.
It would be a sports show.
That's a great point. Jackson would revert to what he knows. I think we're going to indefinitely suspend Mike from the show. And that means that we reserve the right to bring him back at a time of our choosing, just like ABC has chosen to do with Jimmy Kimmel. Let me be clear here. ABC gets to decide how ABC is going to run their private business. Jimmy Kimmel did not do anything that was out of bounds in terms of ability to speak. He did not incite anyone to riot. He did not threaten anyone's life. He did not threaten anyone's safety. He did not do anything that would endanger the general public in any way. These are the basic parameters that I put on speech with regard to an ability to curtail said speech. Otherwise, the free market, the general public will determine what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. That's called consequences to one's speech or consequences to one's actions. I thought that ABC saw this as a potentially fireable offense. It turns out that they didn't. It turns out that this was the play all along. They said indefinitely suspended all along. A lot of people assumed that he would be fired based on what he said. What did he say that was so bad? A couple of you have asked, what did he say that it was so bad? He lied. We believe that he knowingly lied. Now, it's up to Jimmy Kimmel to say whether or not that's true, but here's the deal. Jimmy Kimmel had a chance to apologize for what he said, and he chose not to. Now, I'm told that Sinclair is standing by. They're not running the show. And I wonder if Nexstar feels the same way too. But I have been told on good authority by the intraweb that Sinclair has made the statement that they're not running the they're going to stand by their decision. Well, Sinclair will not lift the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live on our stations until formal discussions are held with ABC regarding the network's commitment to professionalism and accountability. Sinclair also calls upon Mr. Kimmel to issue a direct apology to the Kirk family. Furthermore, we ask Mr. Kimmel to make a meaningful personal donation to the Kirk family and Turning Point USA. Regardless of ABC's plans for the future of the program, Sinclair intends to not return Jimmy Kimmel Live to our air until we are confident that appropriate steps have been taken to uphold the standards expected of a national broadcast platform. That is Sinclair Inc. And that is as of 2 hours ago. So there you go. Looking forward to watching Jimmy Kimmel as he doubles down on all of this and triples down on all of this. I will not be watching because I don't watch that drivel, and I don't encourage you to either. I do listen to Mark Levin, and I think he's back on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Have a good evening, folks. Hug your loved ones, everybody.
I'm Pastor Alan Jackson, and I'm excited to invite you to join me for my brand new show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Every Sunday night from 7 to 8, I'll be talking about the week's news and headlines, but through a biblical lens. Together, we'll look at what's happening in our world and how God's Word can guide us through it. Join me, Pastor Alan Jackson, Sunday evenings at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and you can listen on iHeartRadio and tune in.